7, and go. Welcome, everybody, into the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do the rants every day around about this time. Typically, I try to hit noon straight up. Show used to be called the High Noon Show because I would try and start it right at noon. But as we went on, 3 years now, every day, Monday through Friday, we do this. We get together, you, me, that's it, you and me. And we talk about the day's news, the day's hot topics, the day's current events, the day's trends, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. My fear is that you are going to be confronted at some point today by just one of these people. You see them coming. You're like, oh God, what is this going to be now? They're going to come up to you and they're going to be like, hey, did you hear about? And you can say, yes, I did, because I listen to the Rant every day. I did hear about that. Shut up. Here's what I think. See, I'm preparing you for these awkward interactions. We do this show, as I said, every day for the past 3 years. It hasn't been always here. These are our new digs, the Kelly Moore Memorial Studio. What's going on with my screen? I had some nice Thanksgiving stuff. Friggin' YouTube. Oh, it's going to be one of these deals. You make me watch ads, are you? Ugh. Hey, give me the next one. 5 seconds. The American flag, typically on the show, I use an American flag as our backdrop. The American flag, it's static. Ed likes that. It doesn't ever go to a commercial or a pop-up or whatever we're calling them. But with these, this is different. This is, I wanted to do a little bit more festive, and I think this is nice. Can I tell you about this background? Look at this background. See that background? Let me tell you what I would do with that background. Okay, so I'm a billionaire all of a sudden. I don't know. I picked the right ticket. Who knows? Here's what I'm doing with that background. Check that out. And by the way, I looked at a lot of backgrounds today, right? I chose this one. Here's why. So I'm a billionaire. Look at me. I just won the lotto. Hey, what am I going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to like a designer or an architect, and I'm going to say, look, give me that. I'm going to Europe for 3 months. When I come back, I want that. That's how I would do. I like that. That looks very peaceful. The show, as I said, is a rundown, a stream of consciousness. I perform this as a stream of consciousness, which means no breaks, no stops, no interruptions. I don't have anybody else to talk about. So if this voice irritates you, you should probably make your way towards the exits. It's not going to get any better. I cough, too. I cough from time to time. 4 quarters performed as a stream of consciousness is what this show is. 4 quarters because we need to break it down. It needs to be segmented so that I don't just, so I know where I'm going, if you will, with this stream of consciousness. First quarter, we do a thing called Antecedently on This Day. I talk about this day's interesting historical events, things that happened on this day. Quarter 2 is birthdays. You know what that is. That's self-explanatory. Quarter 3, deads. These are people who died on this day, notable people, historical people, celebrities, whatever. We decide that if they did, in fact, die on this day, as is being reported, where did they go? They go to heaven or did they go to hell? That's fun. We play that. That's quarter 3. Quarter 4 is all the hot topics, current events, trends, all of that kind of stuff. Everything you need to know. So we're going to get to it. The show takes about, what do we say? Show takes about 2 hours, sometimes a little bit more. Feel free to follow us on YouTube or Facebook and all of that stuff. Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky now, hanging out with those people. I got to say, I am spending more and more time on Blue Sky because so far I have seen 0 politics. And that's a win. Maybe it's just because I'm not following it. No porn. Good Lord, man. What Twitter is so skanky. It is so angry and like porno filled now. I don't need that. I'm better than that. And you're better than that. But I still like Twitter. I'm still on Twitter. Here's what I say when I say I'm spending more time on Blue Sky. I'm spending equal amount of time on Blue Sky as I am on Twitter now, simply because I'm like always on Twitter. And whenever I post something on Twitter, I just make sure that I post that on Blue Sky as well. So follow me on Blue Sky, Pugs Moran. It's not on there. You got to add that. Every day, the show runs, actually for 3 years now, the show has run on your gratuities. You guys drop tips if you like something. you appreciate this kind of talk radio, the kind of talk radio can't get anywhere else. You ain't getting this on AM radio. I know. I worked in talk radio since 1992. Trust me when I tell you the kind of stuff that I talk about. They're like, nope, no, you can't say that. That's not. I offend everybody, not intentionally. Because you see, here's the thing. I am neither on the right or on the left. And I also don't identify as one of these moderates. I don't know what I am, dude. Honestly, I'm like, there are some things on the right that I'm like, yeah. And here's why I think that's good. And then there's things on the left I feel the same way about. But this concept that is sort of occurred in media where we're only being presented nowadays with people who are absolute ideologues on either side is nonsense, because I feel it's not representative of who we are. I always say this, right? I'm going to say it again for those of you who are probably sick of hearing it. 15% of people on the right wing in America are nuts right now, and they are never coming back, and we are never going to have a Thanksgiving dinner with those people again. 15% of people on the left, same. That leaves 70% of us, man. 70% of us who are just normal Americans. So I do this show every day at noon for normal Americans. You're not going to agree with me on everything. We're going to fight about stuff. You're going to say something in the chat room. You're going to call me out. I'm going to be like, no, you're wrong. But here's the thing. The next story that I jump to, we're going to be in agreement and we're going to be laughing. And that's how it works. And that's how the world should work. I don't want to put you on a list. I don't want to send jackboot thugs to kick in your door because we disagree on something. No, we disagree. You're an idiot on that subject. We move on. So that's what this show is all about. Rainy Day says her favorite quarter is overtime. Look at my guy, Doug. My Doug. You want to talk about a dude, an aspirational life. My buddy, Doug. Known Doug for 25 years. I can tell you that my partner, Kelly, loved that man so much. So I'll just tell you that. Kojak, it's always nice when I see him. We got Jeff Ballard hanging out. He's out there in the cornfields of Iowa. Never met Jeff. Love Jeff. Jeff's a brother. Happy Thanksgiving, Jeff. Jeff's a brother who I fight with. It's one of those kinds of deals. All right, so that's what the show is. 4 quarters, current events. I mentioned that we run on your gratuities. We don't take advertising. We don't seek advertising. We're not doing this. We want this to be a people's movement. So anything you can do, drop it in, help it out, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you are the big tipper of today's show, that means that on the next show, which will be Friday, programming note, not doing a show tomorrow. Got to watch football tomorrow. Bad football. We're all going to watch bad football. I think we got two good teams. 2 good teams playing the entire day, spread out across 3 games. So yeah, no show tomorrow, but we will do a show on Friday. So today's big tipper will be Friday's executive producer. Now we do have an executive producer today because boy, this is how the show runs. Can't go many days without a big tipper. We got Benji. Thank you so much, Benji. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Benji dropped a little something in the Cash App, Venmo, whatever it is that is easiest for you. And now we're going to move on from that. If you want to be Friday's big tipper, all you got to do is drop a little something. Let's get into a small talk segment here. Can we? Can I tell you about something that happened to me on my way in here to the beautiful Kelly Moore Memorial Studios? So I stopped. There's that cough. I will tell you, and my mother will confirm, for some reason, I have never spent a healthy Thanksgiving. I'm a fairly healthy guy. Every time I go to the doctor, when you go to the second visit and they're like, we got your test results back. And I'm always like, oh God, here we go. This is the one. This is the bet. They're always great. My results are always great. I never have AIDS, which is nice because, I don't want that. Although apparently, based on some stories that are circulating, if you have AIDS today, no problem. No problem. Yeah, the FDA has approved the transplants of people with, here's the deal. People with AIDS, they need like organs because their organs fail, right? But there's not a whole lot of healthy organs. And for years, because AIDS was so scary, you couldn't have a person with AIDS donate their healthy liver to a person with AIDS who needed a healthy liver. Because sometimes AIDS affects different things. It was banned. AIDS to AIDS transplants were banned. FDA approved it. There are less people now with AIDS than, and it's all HIV. It's all manageable. Just how the drug companies like it. They're not going to cure it, but they're going to get you on a cocktail that's going to cost you $40 a day for the next, $40 a day. That's insane. I don't even know. I'm lucky to not know, and so are you. Barney says, my favorite quarter is the bicentennial. Yeah, that's a good quarter. We're being honest. Anytime you get a bicentennial quarter, I don't know the last time I saw a bicentennial quarter. That's right, youngsters. Quarters in 1976 were minted differently. For the bicentennial, they had jazz pizzazz on the back. I don't know what it was. It was like something. Yeah, it was like something better. All right, so today I go to the 7-Eleven like I always do. I have to get my Coke Zero, and I like to see Shahad. Shahad's the guy behind the counter. What up, Shahad? I say when I walk in, and Shahad goes, hello, my friend. Oh, it's beautiful. So today I walk into the 7-Eleven, and you understand, I live on the campus of SMU. So this is the SMU 7-Eleven where it's nothing but co-eds. Nothing but co-eds and college kids and stuff like that. In and out, very busy. I'd love to. Man, Shahad, let me tell you, Shahad got the good location on the 7-Eleven. No crime, wealthy, well-behaved college kids. I mean, SMU college kids are all like super conservative college kids, so they're afraid to get in trouble for the most part, so they're well-behaved. So I'm in there today, and I'm at the fountain, and as is normally the case, there's a couple of dudes, couple of SMUs, SMUers, and they're like, they're fucking around with their fountain drinks. And I'm like third in line. There's like two of these dudes, backwards baseball hat, frat type guys. And a girl walks in. A girl walks in and walks right past us. Now, this girl is probably 23 years old. She's out for her run. Maybe she's picking up some Gatorade, something like that. She is wearing spandex, yoga pant type shorts, and she's wearing a spandex sports bra. And let me just say, she's beautiful. She is a beautiful girl. And she walks right in. She's about 23. Now, remember, I'm waiting in line to get my soda, right? So this girl walks by. These two frat guys are like, you see that? That whole thing. They're doing that. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, what? Come on. I didn't say anything yet. I'm like, come on, man. Okay, I get it. I saw her. She's attractive. Maybe set her up with my son or something. I'm like, ugh. But I'm also conflicted, and I'll get to that in a minute. So these guys are like, and now they're making jokes. And I'm like, dude, I got a show that starts at 12:15. That's not what I said. What I said to him was, hey, guys, why don't you take a picture? That's my daughter. It was perfect. Dude, they froze. They stopped. Because in that moment, I realized that they were good kids. They were just boys. They felt bad about it. It wasn't going to turn into one of these, yeah, you got a problem, Pops. Not like that. They were humiliated. And the one kid goes, oh, look, sir, we were just, and I'm like, dude, I'm kidding. And then they laughed, and they're like, fuck you, man. And I'm like, I know, I got you. And they're like, dude, she's hot though, right? And I'm like, guys, come on. And that was it. That was my little interaction. But as I walked out, I thought to myself, she was hot. The mere fact that I'm the age that I am doesn't stop me from being able to appreciate. And she's a woman. She was a grown woman. She was easily over 20, 21. I don't know what she was. But I thought that was funny. I thought that it was interesting to me that while I still acknowledged, that, oh, okay, pretty girl coming by, okay. But, unlike the 22-year-old boys or whatever, it's weird that I'm able to compartmentalize it. And I thought, that doesn't make me a creeper, right? I'm not a creeper because I'm sitting here going, I'm a man in my 50s who saw a beautiful woman in her 20s. Movie stars are in their 20s. Are we supposed to not, at my age now, suddenly just be like, yeah, I don't find Sydney Sweeney attractive at all. She's too young for me. That's a lie. At least I hope it's a lie. I hope that I'm speaking for most men when I say, what's the old adage? I guess you can still look at the menu. You just can't order off it or something like that. Just these guys. I slammed these dudes, though. These dudes were so scared for a split second. And then I made it better because, didn't want to cause a scene at Shahad's 7-Eleven there at Hillcrest and whatever it is. Hi, Peter. Peter's in the chat room. He says, hi, Pugs and everyone. Kim says hi. Well, hi, Kim. Happy Thanksgiving. We're in Bentonville, Arkansas. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Isn't there a prison there? Isn't that a big prison town? Isn't that pretty much all that Arkansas is? Just like Little Rock, prison towns, and Walmart headquarters. I think that's the entirety of Arkansas, if I'm being sure. Jeff Ballard says anything over 18 is fair game. That's just not true once you reach a certain age. But again, I say you can still, you can still be like, yeah, I acknowledge that is. Just because I've lost my hair and my beard is turning gray doesn't mean I no longer have an ability to discern what society deems attractive or not. That's all. Peter says, is that where you are? Headquarters? Peter says it's pretty here. It's an undeniable fact about Arkansas. It's an undeniable fact about a lot of our worst states. Our worst states are pretty. You know why? Because nobody wants to be there because that's all they got. All they got is pretty. Nobody moved there and developed it. Nobody. They're just like, it's pretty. Let's just leave it. But Arkansas is pretty. Arkansas and Missouri are two of the most beautiful states that we just haven't been able to figure out anything to do with them. Or more to the point, they haven't been able to figure out a way to contribute in a way that the rest of us notice, other than their beauty. I guess Missouri gave us the show Ozark. That's something. That's something. Kurt Warner, right? St. Louis Rams. They gave us that. What else? That arch is stupid. That arch is dumb. Really, St. Louis? That's what you're offering up? It's just a giant arch. It's not cool. Hi, Pugs, says Frankie. I say hi to Frankie. All right, let's get started. Let's get into the rant because I feel like the stream of consciousness portion of the show has run its course. It is the rant for the 27th day of November. November the 27th is the 333rd day in the year. There's 34 more of these left until the end of the year. Guys, I feel weird. It again, like I said, my shout out to my mom. She'll tell you, every Thanksgiving I feel like I'm coming down with something. I really feel like, okay. I'm sorry. That's neither here nor there and shouldn't be a part of this rant. Be a professional. There you go. He's been showing up, but I haven't been calling him out. That's the voice inside my head. We call him schizophrenic me. He usually gives me terrible advice and tells me my best ideas are my worst ideas, and so I never follow through. He shows up from time to time. Go ahead, say hi. Say hi, schizophrenic me. Hi, losers. That's him. He's talking to you. It's the other voice in my head. Let's bear with it. Quarter one, we call that antecedently on this day. We talk about events that have helped shape our understanding of this day throughout its past. Let's go through them. What do you say? Antecedently on this day, as Google Chrome or Google Drive decides to just go to the bottom of the page. Oh, here's a fun one to start out with. Antecedently on this day in 1809, the Berners Street hoax is perpetrated by Theodore Hook in the city of Westminster, London. All right, so what was the Berners Street hoax? This is pretty funny. So these two dandies, these two 1809 dandies, they were part of the society. They had money and station in this time there in London. These two dandies are just talking shit to each other. They're standing across the street. They're rich guys. They got nothing else to do. They're standing in like the nicest area of London. And Theodore Hook, he points to this house and he goes, that's the nicest house in London. I can make it the most talked about house in London. And the guy goes, how are you going to, it is a nice house. How are you going to make that the most talked about house in London? And he goes, I'll bet you a quid. And I don't even know what a quid is. But they bet that. And thus the Berners Street hoax began. One man bet another man, his friend, that he could make this house the most talked about house in London. So here's what he did. He sent out 1,000 correspondences to people telling them that there was dire need of assistance at the home at this address and that they were needed. Their help was needed at a specific time on a specific day. So on the specific time at the specific day, these two friends who were engaged in this bet stood across the street and watched as over 2,000 people showed up. Now, only 1,000 correspondents were sent out, but some more piano deliveries. 12 pianos were delivered. 40 cakes were delivered. over a dozen clergymen showed up because they were told someone was dying and needed last rites. It was an absolute madhouse. Central London shut down for the day, and on this day, Theodore Hook won his bet. As I told you, everybody's talking about this house. The Berners Street hoax on this day in 1809. On this day in 1815, the adoption of the Constitution of the Kingdom of Poland. Kingdom of Poland adopted their constitution on this day. Fortunately, they couldn't sign it because a light bulb had burned out. That's a fucking strong joke, people. If you like ethnic Polish jokes, antecedently on this day in the year 1836, James Pratt and John Smith are hanged in London. They're the last two people to be executed for sodomy in England. last two gay dudes that they put to death. They were obviously not wealthy gay dudes, because wealthy gay dudes were allowed to fornicate and sodomize and do whatever they wanted. These were probably just two plump, two working dudes, two chimney sweeps that were getting it on in the chimney, and they got caught. Antecedently on this date in the year 1965, the Vietnam War. This is the day that the Pentagon told President Johnson that they were going to need up to 120 to 400,000 more troops in order to stabilize Vietnam. This is when it started. This is when it spiraled out of control at this point. Thank you, General Westmoreland. We didn't need 400,000 more troops. It was a terrible battle plan. But okay, moving on. Antecedently on this day in 1968, this is a woman, from time to time I tell you, we fall across these people, especially when I'm doing research for this, where I'm like, where's this person's TV show? Where's this person's movie? Who the fuck is Aaron Brockovich or Karen Silkwood? There are interesting people out there who did things that deserve movies. And I'm telling you, on this day in 1968, Penny Ann Early deserved her movie, or at least her story, or even just the most remotely. We should have heard the name Penny Ann Early before. She's the first woman to play in a major professional men's basketball game. No, she didn't play in the NBA. She played in the ABA, which would become the NBA, but at this time she played for the Kentucky Colonels. Now, was she a basketball player? No, she was 5'2" tall. Here's what she was. Penny Ann Early was a jockey, and she was attempting to race at the highest level of horse racing. And she was granted permission to race in thoroughbred races. And she came to Kentucky, and she was slated to race 3 races on this day as a jockey, as the first female jockey allowed to participate. Well, every other jockey decided that they weren't going to race her. 1968. All these little midget dudes from the Dominican were like, we ain't going to race against the women. Fuck you. So it became a big story. So they had to cancel the whole day of racing, and she became this sort of media creature. Before we really had that term for individual citizens who pop up in the media and become stars overnight, and then we forget them. Go ahead and look at Oliver Anthony or the Haktua girl as recent examples of media creatures. So there was a big scandal, and there was all these things. Well, why can't she race, and blah, blah, blah. And so the Kentucky Colonels of the ABA granted her a 1-day contract as a publicity stunt. And it was on this day that Penny Ann Early became the first woman to play in major professional American basketball. She also would go on to be the first woman to race regularly in thoroughbred racing. She quit racing, though, because it just got too tough for her. People were too awful to her. And by 1974, Penny Ann Early had resigned herself to just training horses, and she would become a pretty good trainer of horses throughout the rest of her life. Last year, she put a shotgun in her mouth and blew her head off. Penny Ann Early, where's her story? I don't know. I've been trying to find out what was going on, because when I'm reading her story, I'm like, this is amazing. This is fascinating. This could totally be like a cool, movie, a female lead, a heroic American who broke a glass ceiling in multiple sports, although no woman's ever played professional men's basketball since. We got a WNBA. I don't know if she'd be good with that. On this day in 1968, Penny Ann Early plays the first is the first female to participate in a men's professional basketball game. On this day in 1975, oh boy, here we go. My wheelhouse, especially right now, because of recent events and things that I've watched recently. This is definitely my wheelhouse, but you know me, this would have been my wheelhouse anyway. I mentioned it. I've been talking a lot about the IRA, the provisional IRA, the troubles, because of that new Hulu show, Say Nothing, which I just love, and I cannot wait to devour with my 15-year-old son again. It was on this day in 1975, the provisional IRA assassinates Ross McWhirter after a press conference. So let me tell you about this, okay? It was Ross McWhirter and his brother Norris McWhirter were famous Irish sports writers, sports pundits. They were big. They were twins, and they were very popular. Like think of like, I don't know, Pat McAfee, Dan Le Batard, whatever. They were that, whatever that looked like in the 1960s and 70s in London and in Ireland. Also, Ross McWhirter, assassinated this day by the IRA. He also is the author, the creator, the inventor of the Guinness Book of World Records, which is another reason why he was quite famous. Television shows, talk shows. He was always on. He was always a person, game shows, whatever. He was always on, Ross McWhirter. Ross McWhirter went on a Northern Ireland television show, and he just started talking about the Catholics. And when I say talking about the Catholics, you have to understand what Ross McWhirter was advocating for. He was a very important man, a very influential man. He was advocating for the registration of all Irish Catholics. He was advocating for a monthly check-in at a government office of all Irish Catholics, essentially a parole system for simply being born Irish Catholic in your own country, okay? He also advocated for stripping all Irish people of weapons, not guns. They already had the gun thing under control. Knives, swords, sticks, bats, virtually anything the police could see as a weapon, they could arrest someone right on the street. He was a monster. He hated Irish Catholics. He called them scum. And he went on this TV show and he reiterated all of those points that I just put out. And then he looked into the camera and he said, I'm a very wealthy man. I will give $50,000 for everyone that can murder an IRA soldier. Pretty ballsy, Ross McWhirter. Ross McWhirter walked out of the studio and took 2 to the head. Thank you. Boom, boom, over. You gonna talk shit on TV? We're right down the street. We're gonna drive to the studio. $50,000. Boom, boom. Ross McWhirter, dead on this day. Talk that shit. Let's see here. We'll give you the details. There's some pretty crazy details here about this. Alan Ross McWhirter was we need to talk about his twin brother and his sports writing career, right? Politics. In the early 60s, McWhirter was a far-right member of the British Conservative Party and a well-known activist. He unsuccessfully fought for a seat in Edmonton's general election. His views have been described as extreme right-wing, okay? McWhirter advocated and lobbied for various restrictions on the freedoms of the Irish community in Britain, such as compulsory registration. I already told you all this stuff. Okay, so compulsory registration with local police, requirement to check in, requirement for signed photographs when renting flats. Couldn't rent without, you had to have like a special clearance to rent something if you were Irish Catholic. So when I tell you, it's like, oh, well, wasn't that bad? Oh, come on, it's all white people. You couldn't get along. No. In the absence of anyone to ostracize, the power, the authority will find someone to ostracize. It didn't have anybody of any other colors. So the Brits decided to go after the Catholics, the Irish Catholics in particular. So, that's why I'm so. It says McWhirter advocated for capital punishment for IRA offenses. During a press conference on November 4th, 1975, he proposed that terrorism be classified as treason, and as a result, any such infringement would automatically bring the death penalty. November 27th at 6:45 p.m., McWhirter was shot and killed by provisional IRA volunteers Harry Dugan and Hugh Doherty. They were members of the active service unit and assigned to the Balcombe Street gang. Let's see here. Anyway, there you go. They were let out of prison, by the way. Both guys stood there and waited to be arrested. They didn't run. They're like, we're soldiers. This is a war. This guy just did this. We just killed him. We're going to stand by his body and wait to be arrested. They were arrested. They were sent to prison for life. But then, of course, they got out. They got out in 98 because of the Good Friday agreements, which freed all of the political prisoners in England. All right, keep going here. Let's see here. In 78, we had a little bit of a thing here. San Francisco. This is the day that Mayor George Moscone and Harvey Milk were assassinated by former supervisor Dan White. Moscone was the first gay mayor, first openly gay politician. Harvey Milk was the movie Harvey Milk. I don't know if you saw it, Sean Penn. Anyway, yeah. So a big assassination of a gay, because he was gay. That's what it was about. It was because he was gay and he was mayor and it was San Francisco, and Dan White just couldn't handle that. So Dan White killed him. That was on this day in 1978. On this day in 1989, Avianca Flight 203, a Boeing 727, explodes in midair over Colombia, killing all 107 people on board. This is the Avianca bombing. We know this because we are familiar with the exploits of one Pablo Escobar, right? This is the Medellin cartel. Remember, this is what brought down the Medellin cartel, blowing up of the Avianca commercial airliner on this day in 1989. Sorry. What else do we have? Is that, that's it. There's nothing else. You millennials have contributed absolutely nothing. We're going to end it right there. Let's do some birthdays. These are people born on this day. They say that they're celebrating a birthday. I don't know. Published reports say it's their birthday. I haven't spoken to their mothers. Let's go. Born on this day, 1940. Hi-ya! Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's cool. I like Bruce Lee. I like the whole Bruce Lee vibe. I don't particularly like Bruce Lee movies. Let's be honest. Bruce Lee movies are kind of stupid. But there was like a vibe and an energy and an aura and a whole thing about Bruce Lee that was, the mythology of Bruce Lee that I got into when I was younger. I thought it was very cool. Turns out, as an older man, I grow up, I see things, I learn, even spoke to some people who knew Bruce Lee. Turns out Bruce Lee was kind of a dick, kind of an asshole, and not nearly as indestructible as he would walk around acting like. He got his ass kicked all the time, just never on camera and certainly never publicly. It's one of the reasons that Quentin Tarantino felt the need to put the Cliff Booth scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because those stories about Bruce Lee being a dick and getting his clock cleaned are common. So, of course, in Once Upon a Time in America, you have the scene where Brad Pitt encounters Bruce Lee on a film set, and Bruce Lee starts talking shit, and Brad Pitt's character beats the fuck out of Bruce Lee right there. Bruce Lee was an artist and a performer, and he was an innovator in martial arts and all that stuff. But just simply because he was the biggest name didn't mean that nobody could kick his ass. Do you know what happened with Bruce Lee if Bruce Lee showed up in a UFC fight? Bruce Lee would get his ass kicked. Bruce Lee would get taken to the ground, smothered, and choked out. Sorry, you can't do any of that flying hi-ya when you're like in a ball getting pounded on by an NCAA Division I wrestler. Sorry, Bruce. Yeah. Give me an NCAA national champion wrestler against Sensei, your greatest fucking master anywhere. I'm sorry, dude. Unless you can knock him out with one punch, and you're not going to knock an NCAA wrestler out with one punch unless he's got a glass chin. He's going to tuck, he's going to go, and he's going to take you down, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it, Mr. Bruce Lee. Hi-ya! I hate that shit. Wrestling and jiu-jitsu are the only things you need to be good at. Well, I could throw a punch. Fuck you, I'll take your knees out. You ain't going to be able to throw a punch from the ground, you dummy. Well, but boxers do not have to defend from the waist down. Boxers are only fighting half a fight. So don't tell me that a guy who can throw a punch is the toughest guy ever. He's not. A guy who can take the guy who can throw a punch down is the toughest guy ever. That's just street rules. I'm sorry. Go down to your little strip mall dojo and keep kicking your bag and acting like you're going to clean out the bar when somebody lips off to you. Because you're not. You're just not. A high school wrestler is going to beat the fuck out of you. A guy who hasn't even wrestled in high school in 10 years is going to know the basic things to kick your ass. Don't ever fuck with a wrestler. I'm serious. Even if it's not their soul defining thing. Like if you start getting beef with somebody and it's like, dude, you know, in high school, he was a wrestler. Forget about it. Unless you are also a wrestler and can, you know, counter and you can, you got good takedown defense, you're screwed. Bruce Lee, happy birthday. Kind of a myth. Bruce Lee is kind of a myth. You know who's not a myth? Born on this day in 1941, Eddie Rabbit. Well, I love a rainy night. A chunk-a-chung, a rainy night song. Don't know nothing else about it. Love the rainy night. I'm pretty sure Eddie Rabbit had more hits. He died. He died like young, man. He died in 98. Eddie Rabbit, happy birthday. Born on this day, 1941. Born on this day in 1942. Here's a big one. Here's a big one. Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix. Going to tell you about Jimi Hendrix. Here's what I'll tell you about Jimi Hendrix. Again, just, you know, what people say when you go past the mythology, when you go past whatever we're programmed to think about, when you go past it and you see interviews and you read books and stuff and you learn about a person's life. Here is, and I've been at times what one might call a student of Jimi Hendrix, certainly a student of that era of popular music and all that stuff. Even if I don't like the music, I'm interested in the characters and their bios and all that. Jimi Hendrix was like a space alien. Jimi Hendrix is described universally as not having a mean bone in his body, not having an opinion on anything that anyone might go, well, you know, Jimmy, I think that Jimi Hendrix was like, I've heard him described both as an alien and as an angel. And in my mind, those two things are probably similar. I think a lot of Christians are confusing angel interactions with, you know, something else, but whatever. Yeah, no, Jimi Hendrix was almost, I bet you Jimi Hendrix was a savant. I bet you from the descriptions that I've heard of Jimi Hendrix in his personal life, I bet you Jimi Hendrix was certainly on the spectrum. He didn't speak. He was just like, that's all he ever did. Interesting guy. Interesting guy. A really nice person. But I don't think he was normal. Jimi Hendrix, born on this day in 1942, born on this day in 1964, an all-timer, a Gen X all-timer for me. There were two girls. You got to understand, I grew up in a white, Irish Catholic enclave on the south side of Chicago, later south suburbs of Chicago. I had no black people in my high school. People freak out. People in Texas, when they hear that, they're like, "What? Like, what did you go? Where did you go to? Like a 5-room schoolhouse?" No, we had the second largest graduating class in the state of Illinois and one of the largest in the nation. We had well over 2,500 students in my class, and not just my class, but all the other classes as well. A massive 6A high school in the suburbs of Chicago. Not a single black person in the whole school. That's my background, right? So I grew up in Chicago, a very segregated city. I always say the difference because I've lived now a large portion of my adult life in Chicago and in Texas now. And I've always said the difference between the South and the North, as far as racism is concerned, is that the North was like demanding that the South integrate. And the South was forced to integrate. You know who never had to do that? New York, Boston, Chicago, Detroit. They still just had their neighborhoods that were no-goes. If you were white, you stayed in your neighborhood. If you were black. But it was the South who they went, we should make them all live together, even though they weren't, even though the North wasn't. But I think also that has to do with the more established communities in the North. Cities like New York, Chicago, they had their neighborhoods established for 150 years. In the South, we were seeing growth. We were seeing the growth in Atlanta. We were seeing the growth in Birmingham. We were seeing the growth here in Texas. New cities, new communities were popping up. And so it looks to me like they made a real effort to say, if we're going to do it again, we're not going to allow but they never broke up the segregation in the big cities. They never did. if you still in 2024 go to Chicago and drive through the South Side, you will cross over Greek neighborhood, Irish neighborhood, Polish neighborhood, Black neighborhood. I mean, that's just how it goes. And it's funny, the North always likes to act superior. Well, we forced them to integrate their schools and all that. Well, you guys kind of the same thing. Chicago had problems with busing. Boston had serious problems with busing 10 years after the civil rights movement of the 1960s. So anyway, my point is this. Because of the way I grew up with that perspective, I had never seen black girls. I didn't. I mean, I'd seen them like on the bus or something like that. I didn't know black girls were as hot as they were until this girl really came into my life. Happy birthday, born on this day in 1964, Robin Givens. Woo! There were two. The first one, the first black girl that my little white boy saw, where I went, oh boy. Oh, this is new. This is okay. I don't have a problem with this. Janet Jackson. It was Janet Jackson. Do you remember when Janet Jackson first appeared on Different Strokes as Willis's girlfriend, Charlene? Oh my God. Does this episode have Charlene? I need to look at Charlene. She's the little sister of the Jackson 5 because Michael Jackson wasn't huge yet. He was still just in the Jackson 5. She's the little sister of the Jackson 5. Isn't that cool? Yeah, it was Janet Jackson and Robin Givens. Let's check out Robin Givens. Robin Givens, she's 60 years old today. One of the all-time beauties, if you ask me. See what Robin Givens is working with these days. What we got here? These are bad. Oh, look at me using Google. Never use Google for pictures, guys. You got to always use Bing. Let's see Robin Givens. Got to always use Bing. Google sucks for pictures. They don't let you frame it right. You know who does? Boom. Robin Givens. Sheesh. All right. Oh, we're still on the Google? Oh, for crying out loud. All right, check this one out. Yep. Boom. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Robin Givens, 60 years old. She's still pretty hot. She's still pretty attractive. We got any, all right. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is a good time frame. This is where, really Robin Givens was the thing. Robin Givens started out, she came into our lives as Denise, or no, was that Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show? What was her name on Head of the Class? She was a Head of the Class, the show with Howard Hessman. It starred a whole bunch of young students. The premise was it was the opposite of Welcome Back, Kotter. Welcome Back, Kotter was a bunch of really bad, dumb kids, and Kotter was the teacher. Head of the Class was a bunch of super smart kids, and Howard Hessman was the teacher. Robin Givens played the hot, super smart, obviously going somewhere, black girl. Robin Givens' background, she was a model. But Robin Givens has a real shady background, and I've got it here on the Mike Tyson picture because I want to talk a little bit about something that a lot of people have thought about Robin Givens. Robin Givens was gorgeous, undeniable. Yeah, Vanessa Williams was good too, Sports Bras. CC throwing down Vanessa Williams, I forgot. That's a third. Yeah, Vanessa Williams was really big in my, what do we call it? Diversity of sexual interests. We'll call it that. Vanessa Williams was a big one. Yeah, that's right. So you had young Janet Jackson from Different Strokes, Vanessa Williams, and Robin Givens. Robin Givens was a model who became an actress. She's gorgeous. Her face is beautiful. This is a weird picture. She seems to be smiling and all that, or whatever. But she hooked up with Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson was at his prime and at his craziest. And there are a lot of people who tell you that Robin Givens drove Mike Tyson crazy, that Robin Givens had him amped up on tranquilizers all the time. There's a famous Barbara Walters interview where Barbara Walters sits down with Mike Tyson and Robin Givens, and Mike Tyson is heavily medicated. He said, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just so happy to be here, Barbara. And Robin was like, Barbara, what Mike means to say. She was doing that whole thing. So it looked very much like P-whipped. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Robin Givens was raised by her mother, a single mother, Robin Givens and her mom. Robin Givens' mom is a smoke show. Robin Givens' mom is every bit as hot as Robin Givens. And Robin Givens' mom worked her way through Major League Baseball. She was with Ricky Henderson for a period of time, Robin Givens' mom. And then she was married to Dave Winfield, Robin Givens' mom. So a lot of people think that Robin Givens was basically raised up to go find a Mike Tyson and to sink her things into Mike Tyson. It's pretty sinister. But when you see Robin Givens and her mom together, and then you see the tranked up Mike Tyson in the Barbara Walters interview, you're like, oh my God, these crazy bitches, they got their hooks in this guy. Now, Mike Tyson is a complete idiot. Don't get me wrong. By the way, can we just say about Mike Tyson, zero respect. I used to have, before a couple of weeks ago, I was, oh, Tyson, you know what? Crazy man, but look at him. He rebounded great. What a great guy. Fuck Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is a fool. Mike Tyson is a fool. I got no respect for him in any way, shape, or form. So on this day, I'm taking the side of Robin Givens. Happy birthday, Robin Givens. Born on this day. She still looks good. She still looks good. She's 60. She still looks good. Would you? Sure would. Born on this day in 1971, Larry Allen, Dallas Cowboy legend Larry Allen. He's an asshole. He's an asshole. He's a jerk. He's not a nice guy. He's a jerk. Born on this day in 1976, Jaleel White. Urkel. Missed out on Urkel. I'm a Gen X guy. You got to be like really young Gen X, or maybe like young millennial or mid millennial, or just flat out millennial to appreciate Urkel. Urkel had no impact on my life. I know Urkel as a cultural curiosity, not as anyone I ever watched on TV. Here's why. I missed out on all of this. I am also not a part of the generation that appreciates Full House. Okay. These were shows that aired on Friday nights. These are shows that aired on Friday nights when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21 in college. You think I'm hanging out watching ABC family-friendly TV? I have no idea. I've never seen an episode of the stupid Urkel show. What is it even called? I don't even know what it's called. It's my blind spot. It's also why I don't know anything about the Golden Girls. Everybody's like, oh, what do you mean you've never seen the Golden Girls? I'm like, bitch, that show was on at 8 o'clock on a Saturday in 1990. Do you think I was home watching sitcoms at 8 o'clock on a Saturday in 1990? I was trying to find someone to buy us beer. I wasn't sitting at home watching the Golden Girls. So I'm just my age, kind of. So I don't have a great appreciation for Urkel, but I do understand he means a lot to some of you. There he is. He's like your Gary Coleman. There it is. I got a Gary Coleman. I got a Webster. You guys get an Urkel. Good for you. Born on this day in 1976. All right, let's move on to the saddest of the four quarters. This one we call Deads. These are people who died on this day, historical figures. We talk a little bit about them, and then we decide whether they went to heaven or hell. Let's get started with the Deads. Who died? Oh, okay. All right. Well, this is where I'm going to get all egghead and pretentious. Dead on this day, did they go to heaven or hell? Okay. I know a little bit about this guy. I'm going to preemptively put him into hell. He was a troubled individual, as most great writers are. Dead on this day in 1953, Eugene O'Neill. Do you guys know Eugene O'Neill? I mean, most people, he's a playwright. He's probably, in my estimation, I love Mamet. I was talking about the playwrights that I write the other day. I don't like musicals, but I'll go see a really good theatrical play. I love a good single set, dialogue-driven theatrical play. And that, my friend, is Eugene O'Neill. Iceman Cometh. The Iceman. If you guys ever, we've all heard of the Iceman Cometh, but if you ever read it, have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen it performed? Do you know what the story of the Iceman Cometh is? Because that is such a strange title for what it is. Iceman Cometh is the story of 12 degenerate gamblers and alcoholics and 4 whores who are hanging out in a bar in Greenwich Village in 1920. And they're waiting for a traveling salesman. Hickey? What's his name? I don't know. I forgot the character. Hacky? Something like that. They are all waiting for a traveling salesman who works the East Coast to finish his rounds. He goes out on the road for like 3 weeks and then comes back to this bar. And apparently he's expected to be back any minute. And when this traveling salesman comes back, he buys rounds for everybody. and the party begins. Iceman Cometh is such a great story about letting life pass you by, about taking your own failures and replacing them with the successes of somebody else. Idol worship, mansion on the hill stuff. Mansion on the hill, driving around, looking at all of your dream homes and being like, one day, baby, one day we're going to have, that's mansion on the hill. That's what Iceman Cometh. It's so great. Eugene O'Neill, so great. Long. If you go see it as a play, it's going to run about 4 hours, but it's so good. Long Day's Journey in the Night, Eugene O'Neill. Morning Turns Electra, Eugene O'Neill. He's great. He's in hell because he was, disturbed. But man, this guy could write a story. He could write dialogue, and he knew how to take broken people and just put them in situations where you cannot take your eyes off them. Or you just, what are they going to do next? What are they going to say next? How are they going to respond? Eugene O'Neill, dead on this day in 1953. Dead on this day in 2007, Sean Taylor, Washington Redskins defense. He was good. Like, Sean Taylor was good. This was really a shock. Do you remember when Sean Taylor died? And it's so interesting given the events of our modern day. We've got a rash of professional athletes being targeted this holiday season by a gang of burglars who are traveling the country. I want to see that movie. That movie's coming, right? That movie is coming about whatever is going on right now, that the FBI and all the leagues, NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL, they're all warning their players that there is a band, an organized group of burglars that are working the country and robbing professional athletes when they're on the road. Or some of the things they're being told is, hey, don't go on Instagram, dummy, and go, can't believe I'm in Bali for the next 5 days. Hope someone's feeding the dog. Don't do that shit. Because apparently that's what these burglars are using. They're looking at game schedules. They're looking at all of these things. They're looking at social media. They've hit Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. They've hit Giannis Antetokounmpo and 2 other Bucks. They've hit somebody who plays for the Devils. I don't know hockey, but they are targeting people and they're robbing them. And it was on this day in 2007 that very thing happened to Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor he played for the Washington Redskins. I think they were on a bye week. Or maybe it was Thanksgiving week, maybe? Yeah, probably. Whatever. I don't know. But he was home in Miami, and burglars broke into the house and killed him right there. Sean Taylor. I'm going to put Sean Taylor in heaven because that is an absolutely tragic loss of somebody who was, a young man with his life in front of him, and that's just sad. Sean Taylor, I'm going to put him in heaven. There you go. Dead on this day in 2007. Dead on this day in 2012, Marvin Miller. We're putting him in hell. We're going to put him in hell. I don't want to hear anything about it. Marvin Miller fucked up baseball like nobody else could other than the league offices. Marvin Miller basically created the players union. Marvin Miller he was an attorney. So he's in hell. We don't even need to talk anymore about that. Labor leader, ran the Major League Baseball's player union, I believe, from its inception, caused all kinds of, just the free agencies, the lockouts, the strikes, all of this stuff. They say that the Major League Baseball players union is the most powerful of all of the professional sports unions. So I guess you need to give credit to Marvin Miller for that. I'm putting him in hell. Troublemaker. Let's see here. You know what? That's going to do it, folks. All right, let's wrap it up. Boom, boom, boom. First 3 quarters in the books. It's time now for us to focus our attention on all the hot topics that are happening today, the big news, the buzzworthy stories. I'd like to remind you, though, this show does run on your tips. A little something dropped in the Venmo, dropped in the Cash App, whatever it is. It sure does go a long way to ensure that we can continue producing these shows every single day. Executive producer is a title that I award to the person who tips the most the previous day. Today, that's Benji. Thank you, Benji. Who will be Friday's executive producer? All you got to do is drop a little something, Venmo or Cash App. Friday is a show. We're doing a show Friday, not a show tomorrow. I'm trying to think of what I need to prepare for as far as, it's crazy. Oh, by the way, yeah, there you go. If you want to do a little help out. There's like, what are we doing here? It's just us, right? Is anybody work today? Is anybody taking meetings? I had a meeting today. It wasn't important, so it wasn't a big deal. I had a meeting today. Somebody was going to swing by, and they decided that, they're just not going into the office today. They're going to stay up there in Frisco. I'm like, okay, whatever. Nothing gets done. Nothing. This is, folks, when you try to do business as an entrepreneur, and I know that you're going to, if you are a entrepreneur, a hustler, or a wannabe, as I am, you've experienced this before. There are 2 times in the calendar year when all business in this country stops. Not the mundane making of the sausage business, the grinding it out of a template that you've been doing. No, that still happens. What doesn't happen is, hey, let's do this. Can we work on this? No, nothing like that works. No pitches get accepted. There are 2 times a year when you cannot pitch or try and collaborate with people. And that is starting today, the day before Thanksgiving. Everything shuts down till after the holidays. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, we need to that's something. You know what? After the holidays. Let's get back on this after the holidays. Okay, good seeing you. That's what happens now. And then happens again around June 20th. Every year. Oh, and that's the bad one. If you don't get your check in hand by June 20th, you ain't getting shit till after Labor Day. Because on June 20th is when, that's a great idea. I love that idea. That's a fantastic. You know what, though? Let's rally back after the summer. Let's have Labor Day. Let's get back together. Let's do that. That's going to be great for the third quarter of, shut up. Bullshit. I hate it. And then combined, we're talking about 3.5 months of productivity that people don't do anything because, after the holidays, we'll get to it. Or after the summer, we'll get to it after. That's got to stop. Kills a guy like me, and I'm sure it kills you people too. Frank says I can make it easier to tip. Don't want to. I want you to need to tip. What do you mean, Frank? Easier to tip? It's pretty easy. The fuck is it? Venmo is the easiest of all of them. I don't know. What do you mean, Frank? I don't want to argue with a guy that sounds like he wants to tip, but come on, Frank, give me a break. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Al. All right, let's get into the topics. I'm going to run through some pretty. Google Drive just signed me out. They just signed me out. Just signed me out. Been on it all day. Page has been open all day. Been making changes to it all day. Google went, hey, you ain't been to this page in 45 seconds. I guess you're done. Tired of these inconveniences. Hold on, guys. I got to sign back into Google now. Yeah, that's right. That's what this show is. The show is just a dude ranting. What is my password? Okay. Make sure I'm not sharing. Like I need to give you guys. I would though. I would give you guys. No, I wouldn't. I shouldn't even say that. I wouldn't give you my passwords. All right, there we go. My kid was. I hate this. I'm such a bad dad. I got a 15-year-old son. My son got on an airplane. He's going for a couple of days to Thanksgiving, a big family Thanksgiving dinner down there outside St. Louis, and I was like, I always like to call my son before he gets on a plane, right? I don't know. It's just because for whatever, I tell him I love you and have a good flight and, tell everybody and give him my love, all that stuff, all the stuff you want to do. You want to touch base with him. So I called him this morning and it rings and I'm like, is this little bitch going to send me the voicemail? I know he's got his phone on him. He's got his phone on him all the time. And I've seen him send other people. And then he picks up. Hey, what's going on? And I can hear there's a lot going on, right? Like he's busy. He's in public. And I'm like, hey, bud, And he's like, hey, Dad. And I'm like, so I just wanted to talk to you before you got on the plane. What time is your flight? And he goes, we just landed. And I'm like, oh, bad dad. Bad dad. How did I not know my son was in the air? How did I let that? We just landed. So the good news is they just landed. And he'll be back, I think Saturday. They'll stay long. They like the boom dinner, boom back. I think he might even be coming back Friday. We'll see. I'm not sure. Yeah, thank you, Google. Google is definitely pissing old Uncle Pugs off. All right, let's get started. Here we go. These are the hot topics, the current events, everything that you need to know about today, the 27th day of November, year of our Lord, 2024. Well, it sounds like somebody just walked into the studio. Here we go. All right, first and foremost, let's talk about we got a ceasefire. That's good news. It's good news. Ceasefire between Israel and Hamas has been reached. We are in the 17th hour now by my clock. It seems to be sticking. That's good. Don't know that everybody in the Israeli war cabinet is comfortable with. There's reports that there are people who walked out, people who do not want a ceasefire with Hamas. I told you yesterday that everybody wants or should want a ceasefire with Hamas. This is, first of all, the Biden administration is out there taking credit for this. You got to stop it. Just stop being a jerk about it. Okay. I sat here on the air for the last 3 months making fun of Secretary of State Anthony Blinken traipsing across. Oh, Blinken's got another meeting over there trying to work on a ceasefire. I was making fun of it. But here we are. There's a ceasefire. So you know what? Doesn't matter. You got to give credit where credit is due. There is a ceasefire, 16 hours and counting, 17 hours actually by my count. We'll see if it holds. It's good for the Biden administration. They're taking this as a win as they go out the door. Look what we did. And I told you yesterday, this is a win for the Trump administration as well. They do not want this on their plate when they take office. They want Israel and Hamas to be seen as something that was from the former administration. So this hitting the ceasefire, heading into even larger negotiations that are now being promised. This could be something, so keep your fingers crossed. All right, let's talk about Russia now, because let's focus our attention to the other sector of the globe where we're lining these things up, right? We want to get a proper World War III, so we need to have all of the areas. We got the Middle East spoken for, that one, okay. We got Russia. That's going to be Eastern Europe with the potential to certainly spill into mainland Europe. There you go. We'll have that. And, of course, we got what's going on over there with China and the South China. Is it the South China Sea, or did I just say that? That was like programming. Stream of consciousness. I just said South China Sea. I don't know that it's the South China Sea where this is happening. But the problems with Taiwan, we got all of that. That's serious. Hong Kong, Taiwan, all of this. So those are 3 corners of the globe now that we have spoken for in what is potentially the coming World War III. Russia is, okay, so let's tell you about this story, right? Russia is saber rattling. They're using hypersonic missiles now. This is in response to the NATO allies now allowing, it's not just America. I know here in America, we're like, what do you mean they're using a missile? No, it's NATO. These NATO longer range missiles are now being used. So yes, the Biden administration had to be okay with it, but so did the UK, so did Germany. So everybody's involved in this, right? So we're up in the ante. Russian forces are now moving farther and quicker into Ukraine territory than they ever have before. They're being aided by North Korean troops, who, by the way, the North Korean troops, they seem to have replaced the Georgian and Chechnyan troops that were basically fed into the grist mill by Putin. Russian soldiers in body bags are a really bad look for him. So the actual grunts that have been doing the warring these past few months have been almost exclusively Georgians, Chechnyans, other groups there, outlier states under Putin's thumb, and North Korea now. North Korea is involved. They're pushing. So they're lining up their people. Meanwhile, it's just the Ukrainian military and, with advisory help and weapons help from NATO. But no NATO troops, no NATO flights. British Strata bombers are now flying. Let's do that. Let's look at that. Let's see where hold on. Let's see if we got any Stratobombers, any British Stratobombers in the region right now. Because this is the thing that Putin is reacting to most. In the last 48 hours, there have been a number of British Stratobombers flying close to the Russian border. Should a Russian military unit or a North Korean military unit, should they shoot one of these NATO Stratobombers, now we got something. Now we got an issue. All right, let me see what we're dealing with here. Let's pull up the flight radar. Let's go ahead. Let me share this. I always like to use this. This is a fun little app. Shows you every airplane in the world in the air right now. And it tells you exactly. I do this with my Sunflies. That's why I had flight radar up today. All right, so here we go. We're going into the Ukraine, right? So what are we looking for? Where is the border? Can I make it? Let's pull it out a little bit. All right. Oh boy, when you pull it out that much. All right. Let's see. Here's Moscow. We don't want to be that far. So where's Kiev? Where's Kiev? There's Kiev. All right, what is this? All right, see, I'm already see how there's no flies over Ukraine here, right? There should be thousands of airplanes in the air here, but because of what's happening, obviously, you don't want civilian aircraft flying across a war zone. So what's this guy doing? Who's this? Let's see who this is. Okay, this is flying into Moscow over Ukrainian airspace. Where did it take off from? Where the hell? Egypt? All right, so here's, looking at this, you know what I think this is? And this would make sense. Here's what this is. I bet you this is a plane carrying diplomats. I bet this is a plane carrying people who are working the back rooms to try and bring this thing to an end. It's not a military plane, and it took off from, or is it a military plane? Hold on. No, it is not a military plane. It is an Egyptian charter private aircraft. Okay, so I'm guessing that those are, because there's no way that they would let that plane fly over. The Ukrainians would blow it up. I mean, this is a no-fly zone. All right, so we got that one. What's this guy? Here's this guy. This guy's coming over the no-fly zone. Who's this? This is going from Minsk to Dubai. I don't know what that is. All right, I don't see any British planes, but let's see what the most tracked planes are. All right, this one here is the most tracked plane. This appears to be, I don't know. Anyway, point is this. The Brits are now flying NATO aircraft on missions in support of Ukraine. They claim they're only doing it intelligence and, observational, but, that's not making Putin feel too good about all this. Now, Putin does all kinds of things, all kinds of squirrely things. Like, he's not just a conventional war guy. I mean, he's, disinformation, and he's a KGB guy, man. Psychological warfare is what he loves to do. So one of the things that was reported last month was that German intelligence had learned of a plot by Russian special services to place bombs, explosives, on specifically cargo jets. Now, this was determined after some bombs, it's not real bombs, what the Germans are calling test bombs, were discovered on a cargo plane that was flying across Europe, okay? How was it discovered? Well, why was it discovered? Why did the bomb not go off? They believe it was a test. They believe it was a test by these Russian services to try and figure out how they can do this. That was reported a month ago, okay? 2 nights ago, a cargo jet over Lithuania exploded and crashed into a house about a mile from the runway. So now the whole world is going, did Putin blow up that DHL cargo plane here? We've got video of it. You can see it. And we'll even listen to the air traffic. Should we listen to the air traffic first, or should we see it? I think we should see it. Let's see it. All right. Do we have video of it? Jet slams. Okay, here we go. All right, this comes to us from the AP. This is AP video. Give me a second here. AP likes to pay for their shit, so everything's going to be, hey, you know what? I wonder if, can I project this? Hold on, let's see. Nope, wrong one. Shit. Well, that's not fun. Hold on, guys. I think I just discovered something that I can do that I didn't know I could do it. Oh, yeah, we're going to want to stop casting. I don't know. Anyway, I thought maybe I could cast this to the TV behind me, but it casts to the TV on the side of me, and it's not showing the TV behind me, so screw me. All right, here we go. This is a DHL cargo plane. We'll see it. Boom. Oh, cool. We're going to get a commercial.
How will earning unlimited cash back make you feel? Well,
there you go. Go out and use your Citi card, folks.
Like this.
The banker's always going to get their money.
Feel the joy.
Free commercial on the stream. They ain't paying me, Dick. But I am using this video, so I think I can justify it as a fair trade that way. Let's go. Wrap it up. How long is this commercial? With no option to skip. That's the worst. Here we go. All right. So here's what we're looking at. This is Vilnius, Yugoslavia. This is, can I make it bigger? I suppose. Oh, okay. Do we see it? Look at this. All right, here it comes. See it right here? Boom. Right here. See it? Here comes the DHL cargo jet. Oh, I hate these things because, we all got to fly. Luckily, I don't mail myself anywhere. Oh, let's see this again. Hold on. Sorry. I'll start it over for you. Ready? Go. All right. Here we go. This is from a ski resort. Security cam at a ski resort. On the right, there it is. You see the light on the right. Here it comes. It's all ready. There's been a problem. There's something on fire, they say. And loses it, heads over, ba-boom. German officials and Lithuanian officials both are in agreement that terrorism cannot be ruled out, and the entire world is looking at Vladimir Putin wondering, why are you blowing up cargo jets? Is this supposed to be some kind of a threat? That's what the belief is, that he is demonstrating that he will start these kinds of things. This is an act of terrorism. This is a war crime. This has no military value. If it can be proved that this is something that the Russians are engaged in, well, whatever. It's not like we didn't know. It's not like it's beneath him. All right, now let's listen to something else. Here's the air traffic. Let's listen to the air traffic. Where is it? I think so. Yeah, all right. We don't actually hear the crash, but we do get to hear. Do we even need to hear that? Hold on a second. Chilling air traffic control audio from deadly plane crash revealed as spy chief says terrorism and Putin cannot be ruled out. Officials have released chilling audio on Monday of the deadly crash of a DHL cargo plane into a home in Lithuania, with the recording revealing the moment the air traffic control tower realizes the ill-fated flight has been lost. We just got a crash of an aircraft, a Boeing 737, an air traffic controller says somberly. Is this the audio? Hold on. Do we have it? I like to listen to the audio. Nope, that is not the audio. Yeah, it's funny. Earlier today, I had the audio. It was right there. I was like, oh, this will be so easy. I'll just click on this while we're on the show. What could go wrong? Now there's no audio file on this page. None. The audio was recorded around 5:30 local time. Yeah, nah, can't find the audio. Unless it's this, unless it's just a stupid ad. All right, let's see. Let's see if it's just a stupid ad. Ugh. And, just with a little money, just a little investment, we could not have to do this stuff. Is it? Nope. Yeah, never mind. Okay, forget it. I don't have the audio. We saw the video. What else do you want from me? They're saying this is Russian. We don't know. I just know that I don't put it past that guy. Let's talk about some prisoners in China that we didn't know we had. That's right. We didn't know we had Chinese prison. We didn't know we had American citizens being held in China. Or at the very least, we didn't give a shit. We didn't give a shit. We weren't ginned up properly. You know what happened this morning? China released a bunch of American citizens that apparently we didn't give a fuck about because Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson didn't gin us all up about it for 6 months and be able to place the blame on some elected official. That didn't happen. That usually happens. I mean, I thought as a proud patriotic American who loves my fellow citizen that I was aware of every single American. I know we got some in Russia. That's a big deal. Nah, Chinese got them too. We just ain't never said nothing about it because we're gutless pussies. Nobody, where were the people? Where were the families of the people in China that have been held for this long? Why weren't they on CNN or Fox News or whatever? Why is China so constantly protected? Be it by the media, be it by the NBA, be it by Walmart. I don't hate China, okay? Not a fan of anyone that has an economy and a world economy. They walk around acting like they're one of the big shots in the world economy when the entire thing is based on slave labor. Fuck you, you're not real. One good revolution in your people's economy, all of a sudden you got to start dealing with things like minimum wage and shit. Anyway, I don't hate China. Love Chinese food. I don't hate China. I don't hate China the way I hate Russia. I don't hate China the way I hate Iran. I think the China we can work with, and I think China wants to work with us because we're their biggest market. We buy their shit. Walmart is an American thing, you know? So China apparently was keeping a bunch of prisoners, and they just, surprised everybody by releasing them today. Let's see. 3 of them, I think. 3 Americans have been released this morning. 3 Americans wrongfully detained in China, released in prisoner swap. See that? That's a perspective headline. That means that headline, that there's a word that was chosen in that headline that was based entirely on the American and Western perspective. And that word is wrongfully. Because, if you were being completely nonpartisan about it, what you'd say is 3 Americans detained in China have been released in a prisoner swap. But no, the Washington Post, because they're groveling. They've been, Washington Post, the libtard paper, right? They're trying to be more American, more patriotic. Washington Post made a decision in the headline here to put wrongly detained. I don't know. I think they might be because, I'm an American and I'm going to support them. But the Biden administration and China have agreed to a prisoner swap. Securing the release of 3 Americans who the U.S. government has long said, we never heard about it till today, but they've been long held. And the government's been long saying Americans Mark Swiden, Kai Lee, and John Long are en route back to the United States, the White House said, capping months of diplomatic pressure on China and securing a win for the Biden administration. Hey, good for you, Biden administration. Enjoy. Smoke them if you got them, boys. So big wins. They're just trying to stack these wins as they go out the door, hoping we'll all forget about the big primary loss. And not primary in elections. I just mean the primary thing is that you lost. Your whole party got decimated because you can't understand how middle Americans have a problem with their daughter competing against a dude with a dick in a swimming pool. That is where you lost America. Biden, but go ahead. Good for you. You got the Chinese prisoners we didn't know we had back. Cool. Soon they'll return and be reunited with their families for the first time in many years. Many years? They've been there years. All right, we're done. We're done. Good for them. Welcome home. Thanksgiving. Who else? What do we got? Like 30 people in a Brazilian jail that nobody's talking about because somehow talk radio in America hasn't decided it's an important enough story to advocate for these people. No, it's only the pot smoking 7-foot lesbian NBA player in Russia that we all care about. That's the one that got our attention because we're dumb. Because shiny objects and famous people are something that we're interested in, not regular people. Years. These 3 Americans have been over there. Never heard of them until today. That's a crime. That was their family members, their parents. Oh my God. Congressman. Who's the congressman from their district who's been super quiet on this? Why hasn't this guy been on Fox News? Because we protect China. Because we don't do this shit to China. And I'm wondering why. Let's see. Governor Greg Abbott and some lady in a cowboy hat unveiled the new Texas Detention Center. Texas got a big, you knew everything's bigger in Texas. Well, it's got to be. We're on the border. in anticipation of all of the roundups that apparently are going to occur. I don't know if that's true. Hey, look, they got to round up some criminals. All right, I'm all for it. First little girl I see crying because her mommy, didn't have the right paperwork and is being drug off into a van, I'm going to be a little bit square, right? But go ahead, round up every dude with a teardrop tattoo. You want to start there? I'm with you. Let's go out. Let's go out and get every dude with a teardrop tattoo. Let's start there, okay? Then, let's ease our way into taking mommy out of the house, right? That's the great fear. That's the great fear with all this. Texas, however, they're getting ahead of it. They're not worried about it. We don't worry about such things. Fuck your feelings. That's how we feel in Texas, right? Unless it's our feelings. Then it's like, wah, 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 wah. But that's the key word, your. Fuck your feelings, not mine. My feelings are the only ones that are important. Texas unveils its new border area ranch. Oh, that sounds fun. Weekend getaway. Set a proposed deportation detention facility. Look at this lady. Oh, look at how happy she is. This lady is a fucking pig in shit. Look at her. She's like, look at the new place. We're going to have pens. We're going to put people in there again. As long as we're putting people with teardrop tattoos in there, I'm good with it. But when you start, when my lawn starts to look like shit because Jose didn't show up, I'm going to be like, what did Jose do? Jose ain't had no teardrop tattoo. Look at her. She's like, it's going to be so much fun. Y'all, I'm here. I'm wearing a cowboy hat because I'm in Texas, and I know this is going to make national press. Nobody in fucking Texas wears cowboy hats other than assholes, right? Can we agree with that? You people watching this right now, you're in Texas. You don't fucking wear a cowboy hat because you're not an asshole. Because wearing a cowboy hat seems like something children do, unless, of course, you're an asshole. Look at her. She's like, I'm so happy. I'm just disgusted that we got to do this. I'm disgusted that we are in a position now where we are actually going through with it, and we're going to do it because the situation has gotten so out of control. We are left with almost no other options. Well, we are left with options, but they were complicated to explain, and, well, the voters have spoken. So this is what we're doing. Fine. She doesn't need to look so happy about it, is all I'm saying. Rio Grande City. Is that how you say it? Rio Grande City? Rio Grande? I always call it the Rio Grande. Is it Rio Grande? I don't know. I've heard it both ways. Like Texans call it Rio Grande. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've just heard that from an idiot Texan. Never speak for a Texan when you're sitting in front of a room full of Texans. I know the chat room is going to be like, we don't say it that way. Point taken. The General Land Office has more than 13 million acres of land under its jurisdiction. If the Trump administration thinks it'll be helpful, we want to be good partners with them, she said. Oh, so this wasn't even official. She's looking to get some taxpayer dollars so that they here's the deal. Okay, so apparently this is what this chick did yesterday. Commissioner, her name is Dawn Buckingham. She's Texas Land Commissioner. Apparently, she's got a lot of space she can't make any money off of, so she'd really love some federal dollars. And so if that's the case, hey, she'll build a big, giant detention center. Start cashing those federal dollars. That's what it's about. It's just about, I got land, y'all. We got this big, giant abandoned Walmart. We could use that. The General Land Office has more than 13 million acres, and here's her pitch. If the Trump administrations think it'll be helpful, we want to be good partners with them. The effort, known as the Jocelyn Initiative, is named for Jocelyn Nungate, a 12-year-old Houston. Oh, here we go. All right. I don't need to be ginned up about the tragic death of a 12-year-old. I don't need the tragic death of a 12-year-old Houston girl exploited to me in this moment so that you can justify you cashing some federal checks. That's okay. Stop it. And, just so everybody knows, we're only doing this for that dead little 12-year-old girl. Oh, shut the fuck up, you manipulative piece of garbage. Take your cowboy hat. Go home to your husband. God damn, don't you have a turkey to be thawing, bitch? All right, now I'm getting a little excited. Thank you. I appreciate you guys liking that. Let's see here. What else do we have? Down there in Australia, they're banning social media for kids under 16 years old. It's going through. My kid's 15. So he would be, he'd be able to. My kid doesn't use social media that much. At least not as I understand social media. And I am willing to sort of accept that his definition of social media and all the platforms that are available to him and people of his generation are just things I'm not aware of. Like, to me, social media is YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, right? That's it. He ain't on any of that shit. Yet, weirdly enough, he seems to have apps for all of those shit, because I will send him stuff on Twitter and he's able to see it, even though he doesn't have a Twitter account, unless, am I realizing this now in real time? Am I realizing this in real time? That my son may, in fact, have a secret Twitter account that I don't know about? Kids don't want Twitter, right? I mean, that's really the difference between them and us. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. Instagram, all of these things that were popularized 10 to 15 years ago to a different generation are not necessarily things that I think kids today see as institutions of social media. Like, my kid's on Discord. Is that a thing? Like, he's always hanging out with his friends in Discord. I'm like, what's that? And he's like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, well, that's all I do. All I do is worry about this. But okay, you're a good kid. You want to see what I'm talking about? No, not really. But now that you're getting so angry about it, I kind of do. TikTok. He's on TikTok. He's on TikTok a lot. That's it. That seems to be his primary one, at least as far as the social media footprints that my son leaves that I can find. It's TikTok. And he's great on TikTok. He doesn't do anything wrong on TikTok. He shares things, and he and his buddy Josh seem to have a co-account. I don't know. They both I'm like, who posted that? That was funny. Oh, that was Josh. I'm like, why are you guys sharing an account? It's two giant Texas high school offensive linemen. Josh is even bigger than Mace. Josh is just like, anyway. So Australia thinks it's important that children under 16, not be allowed to access social media platforms. And I got to be honest with you, as a grown-up in this country, I agree. I think that if we're being honest, right, we're not going to be hyperbolic about this. Social media has changed the world in so many positive ways. But humans are complicated. So we can't just do one thing. Social media is also an incredibly dangerous tool. It's an incredibly dangerous thing. Anything that is great is also dangerous. Electricity is great. And when Edison introduced electricity, people were like, oh my God. And then the first house burned down and they went, oh wait, there's another side to this coin. I make this distinction because I don't think that there's a whole lot of difference between the impact that electricity had on a society, and there were dangers, and they worked to minimize those dangers. They acknowledged the dangers of electricity, and they minimized it. Wires are coated in rubber. I mean, you have fire codes. You know what I mean? You can't just be an electrician and not have some sort of a. Social media had done that too. Social media has changed the way that we in the last 15 to 20 years interact with one another. And it's allowed people who would have no contact with one another to have a free exchange of ideas, and those are all wonderful. I mean, we saw the early days of social media, the impact it had on the Iranian Revolution and the Arab Spring that followed. Those were all incredible, historic things. Social media has also made me recognize that 1 in 5 Americans fucking suck. That's not a good thing. Social media has made me dislike my fellow American, my neighbor, my citizen to a degree that I honestly didn't think was possible. I have seen some of the worst instincts in humanity played out on social media. Anonymity, lack of repercussion, no consequences at all. These are all the ingredients that allow people on social media to tap into their absolute worst side. Is there anything we can do about it? No, absolutely not. If you're a grown-up, hey, have at it. Have your fun. But I agree with Australia. I don't think a 10-year-old needs to be exposed to that kind of bullshit. The first generation of social media, which is what we are, Gen X, millennials, we're the first generation of social media. We are not going to be affected by our exposure and participation in social media the way these new generations will be, for one very serious reason. We were raised in a time where you didn't run your mouth because you could get slapped. We didn't have social media anonymity where we could shit talk people. You know, we learned how to behave in a civilized society with other people. And then when we were in our 20s and in our 30s, they invented social media and we started to have a little fun with that. But we still have this base of who we are. We still have this base. We still remember when you held doors open for people, when, you know, the only way you could see somebody is if you were actually in their presence. No phones, no streams, no Zoom, right? I mean, and there are skills, human societal skills that are learned in those moments that I honestly do not know a generation or a kid who has known nothing but social media will ever develop. They could just be assholes. It could be an asshole factory, is my point. I worry about that. So, and that is also what social media is, Australia is doing. Australia, here, I'll give you the quick story right here. We'll move on to the next one. I do think this is a big story globally. I would love to see this in America. I would love to see American kids not allowed to access social media until 16, maybe even 18. Yeah, I'm crazy. Whatever, you can go out and play catch. Go out and do some, play your video games. You don't need social media. Australia's House of Representatives on Wednesday passed a bill that would ban children younger than 16 from social media, leaving it to the Senate to finalize the world's first law. The major parties backed the bill that would make platforms including TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Reddit, X, and Instagram liable for fines of up to $50 million for systematic failures to prevent young children from holding accounts. All right, so big fines for all the major social media operators if they don't instill some sort of a firewall or whatever, or some sort of a procedure to determine whether somebody is of legal age or not. All right, there you have it. That's happening in Australia. MSNBC. MSNBC is being talked about today. MSNBC has been talked about all week. MSNBC is a cable news network. Don't have to tell you that. Nice job, Pugs. Way to talk down to your audience. It's my new character. It's the guy that explains too much. MSNBC is a television network. A network is a collection of stations that play the same thing over a large area of space. A television is a box. You know what? That character is not going to take off. I can already tell. It's not a good character. Let's talk a little bit about MSNBC and the troubles that they're going through. MSNBC is widely considered to be the beacon of the left. The libtard left, if you will. The progressive, unrealistic, everybody's a lesbian, everybody's gay, everybody's a minority, and nobody thinks anything a normal person thinks. That's MSNBC. MSNBC's problem is that they have for years now been outthinking us, or at least they think they've been outthinking us. They're outthinking us and condescending at the same time. MSNBC's entire vibe is, we're the people who know how terrible everything else is, and we're better. Give me some more wine, I'll tell you about it. MSNBC is a network that for years has been targeting the absolute worst demographics possible. They've been targeting elitist, college-educated, white wine-drinking people in the suburbs who drive Lexuses. That was it. MSNBC's like, we're going to just nail that. Dummy, you're not a stream, okay? You're not going with hyper-targeting. You're a cable network. You need to cast as big a net as possible. And what you've done, MSNBC, over the last 15 years is drive off everyone, not only just people who lean right. You've driven off every moderate progressive in the land with your Joy Brown, with your Al Sharpton, who I guess hasn't been on in a while, but I would know, because I stopped watching MSNBC the minute they hired Al Sharpton. I'm like, yeah, no, this is obviously the agenda in the newsroom is obviously now not anything I'm ever going to get behind, because they are giving credibility to a guy who I know to have none. Joy Brown is the worst. I don't mind Ari Melber. I think Ari Melber tries too hard. Look, I'm being hypercritical, of course, of MSNBC. You know how I love Stephanie Ruhle. I want to date Stephanie Ruhle. She is so sexy. Sexy old lady. I love her. Sexy. She's got money. And she's a bitch. She's a bitch. She's like, meh. I love Stephanie Ruhle. So there are some redeeming qualities to MSNBC. Why are people talking about MSNBC? Because Comcast has decided to spin off MSNBC. They don't want the deadweight anymore. They don't want to be associated with it. It is such a negative, both as far as, overhead costs, operating at a major deficit for years and years. But now MSNBC has no ratings. None. If you're hearing this and you're like, well, I watch MSNBC all the time, you're like one of 20,000 people in the country who can still put up with that bullshit. Do you know that Morning Joe, which never had ratings, lost 42% of their ratings after visiting Trump? That's the audience that they have, which should have been seen as, well, okay, moving forward, burying the hatchet, trying to create some kind of a path forward with this incoming administration. That's what it should have been, but it wasn't, because MSNBC's audience are a bunch of blue-haired lesbians in San Francisco who can't even tolerate the idea of having a conversation with Trump. So 42% of their ratings have tanked. The morning show, they're gone. They're gone. They'll be gone by first of the year. I mean, Morning Joe, forget it. And they had to know that. My problem with them, were I the executive producer of Morning Joe, I'd have been like, are you insane? If you're going to go to Mar-a-Lago, don't fucking talk about it, you idiots. Your audience is going to kill you. Do you know who your MSNBC audience is? They're sitting here waiting for Joy Brown to come on. How do you think those people are going to react to hearing that you guys went and met? So it was just stupid strategically. Even though I do believe there is a case to be made for some sort of a backroom conversation between media outlets that have been at war with the Trump people. They need to move forward. We need to move forward. Okay, so I understand the need for that kind of détente, if you will. But to just do it with a spotlight and be like, we're going to hang with Trump. It's like, you just called him Hitler. How do you think your audience is going to react to it? Now, folks, we do this every day. I'm here for 3 hours every single day. And what is it that I try to lean on all the time for 3 years? You can tell me I've been consistent on this. I like to believe that I have principles, and hold on. All right, there we go. Back to the Thanksgiving thing. I like to believe that I have principles, and because of that, I try to be authentic with you about everything, even when I'm wildly wrong, and I could be wildly wrong here. But we have a community, us, right? You guys are allowed to go, Pugs, you're wrong on that, and that's fine, and we're all good with that. That was a betrayal, what the MSNBC Morning Joe did to their audience, right? Could you imagine if it was reversed, if I was the morning show and I'm doing all this for all this time? Do you think that I would then be like, yeah, hey, I just talked to Trump? No, you can't. You can't sell out your audience. Your audience can't one day think that you are with them this way and then switch. And you certainly can't do that with a, dare I say, educated audience or a more intellectual audience, because that's what the MSNBC audience is. They're smarter. I'm sorry, they're smarter. But just because you're smart doesn't mean you're not dumb. You know what I mean? They're smart, but they suck as humans. Not all smart. There's smart people on the right. Trump's got smart people. They're smart too. But the MSNBC audience, they want the progressive, smart, educated liberal who went to college and still paying their student loans. That's who they want. Those people don't exist. And those people, if they do exist or if they did exist, do not want what MSNBC has been selling for the past 5 years. MSNBC has lost half its viewers in a stunning new post-election ratings report. Remember, Comcast is trying to sell off MSNBC, and Elon Musk is now saber-rattling. Somebody's going to buy it. Are you kidding me? Do you know the coverage and the clearance that MSNBC has? MSNBC is on every cable system in the country. A new team that moves in. People are lining up, right? I mean, this Newsmax is lining up. News Nation is lining up. That wouldn't be terrible. News Nation, our boy E, he got me into News Nation. I don't know. I think it was just on when his TV came on. Same reason that I watch a lot of Sky News. He started watching News Nation. I'd only seen a little bit, but because of his influence, I've started watching it. And you know what? Let's replace MSNBC with News Nation. Because you know what News Nation is? They're what MSNBC isn't. News Nation is a true opposition media platform. Not opposition where, they're just going to take every crazy left side, but it's a bit more moderate. It's a bit more conversational. They have people from both sides, and both sides seem comfortable. Unlike, you watch CNN and they got someone from the Trump campaign on, and that dude's got flop sweat because he knows shit's coming his way. No, we need to return to a level of discourse, a level of informative current events discourse, where just because you get pissed at somebody over a disagreement doesn't mean, you got to ban them from Thanksgiving dinner. According to Nielsen data, MSNBC's total viewership has dropped by 47%. 2554 plummeted to just 63,000 people in prime time. That is nothing. 63,000 people is the average in prime time for MSNBC. Let me put that into some television ratings perspective for you. Tomorrow's Cowboys-Giants game will probably be viewed by 40 million people. And, there's going to be a lot of people in this country not watching the Cowboys-Giants. They'll be watching something else. 40 million people will be watching that. MSNBC on any given night, 63. I'll tell you, you can't pay $1 million contracts with 63. Ain't no advertiser wants to be with no 63,000 cum in prime time on TV. That's embarrassing. Oh, my God. Let's see. While MSNBC pulled in Fox News scored 3.2. Okay, so Fox News 3.2 million. So there you go. That's how much of an ass kicking MSNBC is taking. It can't sustain itself. It's got to be gone. And they'll turn the lights out by Christmas. There is absolutely no way that news station stays on in 2025. So what's going to happen? What should they do? I'll tell you what they should do. They should do what I said. They should allow News Nation, if they got the funding, to come in and take over the clearances on all the cable stations. Or maybe, here's what I don't want them to do. I don't want them to create something new. I don't want some reactionary media platform with that kind of coverage and influence just popping up because Elon Musk thinks Joe Rogan can be the new fucking Maddow. That's not news. We need to return to news, okay? Now, if Elon Musk wants to do that, why don't he go buy MTV? Ain't nobody watching MTV. He can buy the old MTV. He can rename it, and he can put Joe Rogan on that. And you know what? I'll watch. But not when I want news, okay? Not when I want news. MSNBC, they're in a lot of trouble, kids. Coffee. Do you like coffee? I love me some coffee. I drink. Oh, you guys. I'm going to give you a pro tip after I tell you this story. Prepare for coffee to be extraordinarily expensive. Price of coffee could double in the next 2 months. Fucking Biden. Am I right? No, of course not. It has nothing to do with Biden. Price of coffee is going to rise because an entire Arabica crop in Brazil went bad. Somebody screwed up in an entire... Imagine that. It's probably just some fucking 12-year-old with a donkey who screwed up, and now the world has to pay double for coffee for the next couple of months. The price. What was the price? You know how much coffee is a pound? The price of coffee per pound, or what it's trading at? It's a lot more than I thought. I didn't think coffee was that. It's like $340 a pound. Coffee is trading at on the coffee hits. Oh no, where is it? Coffee hits its highest price since 1977. Bad weather in Brazil and failed crops are responsible. It says here, What do we got here? The price of Arabica coffee, Arabica. I don't know if that's the stuff I like. I got to be honest. You know what I like? You know what kind of coffee I like? Dark. Give me dark, give me sludge. Make it dark, make it heavy, make it hot. I think black coffee is the only coffee that a real man drinks, first of all, okay? If you put sugar in your coffee, that's sweet. You're cute. You're cute. Black coffee, black hot coffee. It's supposed to be the first thing you put in your body, and it's supposed to feel like a kick to the nuts. It's supposed to tell you in no uncertain terms, you ain't going back to bed, motherfucker. So that's what I like. Black coffee, a kick in the nuts. And then, you get used to it. Over like the course of like 10 years, you're like, come on, bring on that kick to the nuts. I found, guys, by the way, I know I'm just going to contradict myself now. Coffee's expensive. It's going to be even more expensive. Typically, what I like to buy is these little 11-ounce bags that you get at the Kroger. I buy the Kroger brand. They've got a wonderful selection. Those things typically cost about $4.99, I think, for 11 ounces. Is that what it is? Something like that. I do it that way because sometimes I like to mix it up. I like, I'll try this heavy dark. I'll try this one's got a little bit of flavoring in it. Not sugar, but just like, a little kind of like, flavor, a little aftertaste as you exhale. You can taste it in your nose, that kind of thing. So I like to mix it up. But let me give you a pro tip on coffee, okay? And this is also a reason why I mix it up. Here's a pro tip on coffee. Coffee's about to be expensive. If you want to buy the can of coffee, Kroger right now, $8.99. Used to be $6.99. It's $8.99 now. They expect it to go up over $10 by the end of the year. So you want to buy your monthly tin of coffee, it's probably going to cost you $11.99 by mid-January because of this situation with the failed Arabica bean crop. I don't know if that'll, affect Starbucks and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if they're going to charge more, but here's my pro tip for you. And this is how I've been buying coffee for a year. Dollar Tree. Hello. $1.25 for an 11-ounce bag. Dollar Tree. Oh, Pugs, but what are you even getting? Is that even coffee? Oh, you're so cute. You think everything at Dollar Tree must be garbage for poor people. You don't truly understand the business model of Dollar Tree, do you? Especially for things like coffee. You'll get the best coffee in the world at the absolute best prices at Dollar Tree. Because Dollar Tree doesn't buy coffee. They don't have a Dollar Tree brand. There's no like Heritage Hill bullshit, cheap poor people coffee that they sell there. No. Dollar Tree's coffee is all overstocked coffee from other stores. And when you walk into, they're only the little 11-ounce bags. So you buy the little bags. But, dude, the best coffee I ever had, I bought over the summer. And I was drinking it all summer. You know why? Because you know what they were selling at Dollar Tree? For $1.25? Hawaiian Macadamia Roast Harry and David gift basket coffee. That's right. When you send a $500 gift basket to somebody and it's got all that fancy shit in there that you can't get anywhere else, that's what I got for $1.25. I looked at the Harry and David coffee online. $17 is what that bag sells for. $1.25. I bought 10 of them. I was drinking that all summer. I'm like highfalutin coffee. So the current coffee that I got, this is another pro tip for you on coffee. And I tell you about these shopping pro tips all the time because I'm really good at it. I am so good at it. I can buy $100 worth of food for $30. I am. Come shopping with me. I'm telling you that. And I'm sure my mom is very proud because my mom used to always be like, you don't know how to shop, which funny is something that I say to my 15-year-old son now. When my son comes running up to me with the bag of Doritos, like $5 for the bag of Doritos. When there's a store brand that looks exactly like it, the only difference is that it's like $4 cheaper. I'm like, no, kid, we're not buying Doritos Cool Ranch. We're buying Kroger Cool Ranch. It's the same bag. Anyway, so here's a couple of tips for you, and this is how I buy my coffee, and this is how I bought the coffee that I'm currently drinking. So I am drinking Dunkin' Donuts dark chocolate and strawberry dark roast coffee. Dunkin' comes in a beautiful orange Dunkin' Donuts bag. I looked up the price. I looked up the price online. I Googled it. $11. $11 for this fancy Dunkin' Donuts got good coffee. Now y'all know that. Everybody knows Dunkin' Donuts got good coffee. Some people will argue Dunkin' has better coffee than Starbucks. Of course, old people will argue that, but still, it's real. Dunkin' Donuts a player in the coffee game. So I got this Dunkin' Donuts dark chocolate and strawberry dark roast coffee from Kroger for $1.57. It was a bag. It was $1.57. Remember I told you how much? Go look it up right now. Go look it up. It's like $8.99 to $12.99 depending on where you buy it. I bought this bag at the Kroger for $1.57. But didn't stop there. There were 5 bags. Bought them all. Bought them all. I am good for coffee with really good quality coffee too. So here's the tip. This is how you find that shit at the Kroger. I don't know if actually, this may not be true for your Kroger, but this is true for my Kroger, which I call Greenville Kroger. It's at Greenville and Mockingbird, right there, just across 75, right? That's my Kroger that I go to now. It is the best Kroger on the planet. At this Kroger, there is an aisle called aisle 20. And it's an aisle that nobody, you know what it is? It's the aisle that has candles, and it's the aisle that has weird, stupid stuff, just stuff that nobody goes into. It's like an aisle that's like, yeah, nobody needs anything in this trash aisle. It's just stupid shit. But anytime you go into aisle 20 at Kroger, you'll see about 5 shopping carts. And all of these shopping carts are filled with stuff. And everything in those shopping carts on aisle 20 at the Kroger is reduced by either 50% or some absurdly low price. That's where I find everything from my melatonin late night gummies that typically cost $9 for, 120. I can get them for $2 in that thing. So I don't know if all Krogers have that, but my Kroger has an aisle 20. A couple of days ago, aisle 20 was filled with bags of Dunkin' Donuts, dark chocolate, and strawberry dark roast coffee. So I bought it. So I'm good. I don't give a shit about a failed Arabica. That's what it is, Arabica. I don't care about a failed Arabica crop because I've got my stuff. Also, man, look. There's a lot I could tell you about that Kroger there, Greenville and Mockingbird. Aisle 20, I've given you that. There are other tips I don't want to give you. Like at the back of aisle 17. Oh, yeah. I go every day. Yeah. I mean, look, you guys know I'm broke. I'm poor. So I've got to like stockpile shit. And if something's really cheap, I got to buy it. And we'll just put it in the freezer. So I got food. We got food. I'm good. I got meat. I got stuff. It's frozen, but, I got food. So I go to the Kroger every single day just to see what they're selling for $1 today. What can I find that's only $1 today that's $10 any other day? So again, at the back of row 17 or 18, there is now the bakery section is on the other side of the store. They got a little shit bakery section right in the back of row 18. It's just one little rack, and then again another cart. And this cart is filled with bread and cakes and donuts and cookies and all of this shit. And it's all like $1.50. Dude, they were selling, I almost bought like a bunch of, they were selling Thanksgiving pies. They had a cart filled with pies, apple pies, pumpkin pies, cinnamon pies, peach pies, any kind of pie you wanted. There were probably 50 full bakery Kroger pies stacked up in this thing. All of them marked 50% off. $3. It was like $6 pies. $3. I'm like, oh my God. All right, so that's at the back of 18, right? Then the very last frozen food aisle, there is in the very back, the very last door of the very last aisle of frozen food. That's their clearance. That's everything frozen gets put in there that they need for clearance. Now, what is this? Is that shit going bad? No, it's not shit going bad. They accidentally ordered 2 pallets and they only needed 1 pallet. So now they got to move this shit. That clearance is awesome. Dude, that clearance is fantastic. I got like a box of frozen hamburgers for $2. It was like 12 frozen hamburgers for $2. What else do they got there? What else do they got? The Kroger that I need to bring your attention to. The cheap meat. They always got the clearance meat. You got to go to the meat section. You always got to look at the cheap meat section because that's where you get a steak that they cut incorrectly that they don't want to sell for like $3, and it's like a $15 steak. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. I don't care that the bone isn't properly butchered. Kroger. Anyway, I'm not worried about coffee. You should be. You should be worried about coffee. But if you are truly worried about coffee, remember, Dollar Tree. Your Dollar Tree is going to have some really interesting high-end brand coffee that they're selling for $1.25. So go check that out. And Kroger. That's right. Kroger. You got to check that aisle 20 basket. They always throw coffee in there. I don't know why. It was filled. I bought like, I don't know. I had to buy 5 of these Dunkin' Donut bags of coffee for like $1.50 each or something. So I bought 5 of them, but it was filled. There was like 30 of them. So that's not a situation where it's gone bad. That's a situation where this Kroger ordered way too many of this. And, you know, they got to make room for the new eggnog Christmas coffee. So they got to get rid of the, whatever this is. Maybe it's left strawberries and chocolate. That's what is that left over from Valentine's Day? How long you guys had this coffee in the back? I don't know. I've been drinking it. It's very good. It's very good. Apparently we're being warned if you're a Spotify person, Spotify Wrapped is coming. Spotify Wrapped. I love this. Is such a nice new thing in my life. It's Spotify Wrapped. Do you subscribe to Spotify? Do you have a Spotify account? Spotify Wrapped is something that Spotify sends as a Christmas gift to all of their subscribers, and it's really cool. Well, what is Spotify Wrap? It's basically an accounting and a rundown done in a really cool video of like all the songs and all the music that you were into this year. Like if you just had a bug up your butt and you wanted to hear a song like back in May, you're going to be reminded of that, you know, within this like spot. I love it. Spotify Wrapped is coming. So get ready for that. Yeah, okay, so we got a couple more things we can talk about here, but we're about done. We're about wrapping it up. The problem with days like today is that there is no news. Oh, it's not that there is no news. There's news. There's real important things happening today. You're just not going to hear about it because today is a day where all reporters take off. Like there's nobody working today. Nobody's like cracking stories, which makes you wonder, right? Well, actually, it doesn't make you wonder. It reminds you that the news and the information that you react to and that affects your life in such a great way is carefully curated by people who are doing it on purpose. Because when they don't show up to work, there is nothing to gin you up. And we call it a slow news day. Oh, today's a slow news day. It's not a slow news day. It's just that the news magicians whose job it is to fucking get us all pissed off, they're taking the day off for the holiday. So it's a slow news day. I want to show you guys something. I'm a nice person. You guys know this. I'm a nice person. I'm a volatile person, and I'm passionate, and I'm verbose, and I like to have fun. But ultimately, I'm a nice person, right? What the hell is going on with my TV behind me? More. All right. I'm going to have to find some kind of a background for Thanksgiving and for the season. That isn't going to have me doing this with pop-ups. All right, I'm a nice person. I like nice people. And when people are being nice to each other, I think that's nice. 15 seconds. 15 seconds we're waiting here. But I saw something. I saw some people who were maybe just being nice, but they're being too nice. Like so nice that it made me want to break something. So nice that it made me want to burn the neighbor's house down. I just, just something affects you viscerally where you're watching it and you're like, ugh. Give me an example of that. So this new movie that's out, Wicked? It's got Ariana Grande and who I'm calling CCH Pounder because that's who I thought was in it. Although not legitimately because I knew that she wouldn't be cast in such a high-profile thing. But it's Ariana Grande, Wicked, and they got this actress playing the Wicked Witch of the Green. I don't know. She's green. She wears green. I honestly thought it was like Octavia Spencer, CCH Pounder. black actress. Look, we don't have that many high-profile black actresses. In fact, when I was growing up for the first 40 years of my life, that wasn't a thing that was allowed. Now, I'm happy to see that that's changed, and slowly we're starting to get black actresses. But you got to realize I grew up in a world where the only black woman who was famous was Diana Ross. That's it. There were no more. There were no black chicks on TV. Well, actually, I did tell you about a couple of them. We had Janet Jackson. We had Robin Gibbons. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, now we live in an era where, there are some iconic and incredibly talented black actresses being given roles that didn't exist before. There just weren't roles. Nobody was writing roles for black women. Now we got them. So excuse me, there's like 4 of them out there and they win everything. And I haven't seen any of their movies because if we're being truthful about this, movies that have black female leads are typically not targeting me, a middle-aged white guy. So I'm not all that up to speed on their chops, but I do know they're talented and I'm not taking a damn thing away from them. So when I call the Green Witch CCH Pounder, it's just me being lazy. And it's also just me wanting to talk about CCH Pounder because she's so fucking awesome. But no, you should probably take the position that I'm a racist who refuses to make distinctions between black women. Have at it. Trump won, people. I don't give a fuck anymore. Okay? Have at it. If you truly think I'm a broken, terrible person and I'm in need of your criticism in this moment, have at it. Have at it. Anyway, I still don't know who this chick is. Turns out it's not CCH Pounder from The Shield. Turns out that it's not Omarosa. Turns out that I don't know who it is. It's some big, popular Broadway actress. Apparently, she's very talented. I've never seen her before. But her and Ariana Grande are going. Cynthia Erivo. I'm going to give credit. I mean, I really don't like her. I don't like her. Cynthia Erivo. I don't like her. And you're going to see why I don't like her. I'm about to show you why I don't like her. But also it's complicated because it's forcing me to also not like Ariana Grande. I mean, it's forcing me to really not like Ariana Grande. And I just think she's a delight. I think she's got good energy. She's cute. She's talented. I want to like Ariana Grande. But it turns out after watching this, I can't. Check this out. This is a presser, they call them. Ariana Grande and the Green Witch from Wicked, they went on, they did a presser. That's where you sit down with a reporter, an entertainment reporter or whatever, and you answer questions and you talk about the movie and all of that kind of stuff. This is, again, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo doing a presser for Wicked, and I'm going to show it to you, and I'm not going to say anything about it. And then we're all going to vomit together at the end of it, okay? We're all going to just projectile vomit. As I said, for some reason, I don't understand it. I consider myself a good person and a decent man and someone who encourages others to be kind and sweet. This made me want to vomit. Here we go.
Person, and I feel, and I have feelings, and I can share them.
And if you need to cry right now, you cry.
Yeah. And someone said to me once that the green was the thing that I would love the most about Alphabet, that I would want to stay green. But actually, being green, yes, I loved playing this character. But every time I took the makeup off, I loved who I was even more. So I've come away feeling really beautiful.
It's just you f***ing are.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, God.
You
absolutely.
know?
Yeah. What you've brought to this film and to these characters, you've not just taken care of them, you have transformed them for good.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is also my first time ever doing a junkie.
You have been the
amazing.
light
You're
of the
amazing.
day. You are
truly-
such a gift.
You brought such light into the room. Thank you very much
We
for
appreciate
coming
you.
into this room
Thank
today.
you.
We needed you to come in.
Should we watch it again? I mean, you are the light of this room. You are the greatest interviewer ever. If you need to cry, you just cry right now. It was just like, us, being a woman of color, and now that I was playing the green, I became comfortable in the green. If you need to cry, you cry. And then once I took the green off and I saw my beautiful complexion, I was okay. Fucking shut up! These people, am I right? It's these people. The influence that these people have on the rest of society. Would you stop it? I have a very low threshold for theater dorks. That was some seriously uncomfortable theater dorkisms. We're going to watch it one more time. I want to watch it one more time. I am a
person,
glutton.
And I feel, and I have feelings, and I can share them.
And if you need to cry right now, you cry.
Yeah. And
She retarded? Seriously, is Ariana Grande retarded, or is this just the world that she lives in where she's allowed to be such a little waif? If you need to cry, you just cry. You just need to cry, you cry.
and someone said to me, and I can share them.
And if you need to cry right now, you cry.
Yeah. And
To cry right now, you cry.
yeah.
All right, also, a beautiful girl, lovely outfit, fucking ruined. Look at them tats. Look at them trashy, garbage, not gonna be cool in 10 years tats. Seriously, all of you people who ruined your body at 20 because tattoos were cool, you just wait. It's called a pendulum, okay? It's not gonna be so cool in 30 years when you're walking around with like tats on your hand and people are like, oh, so you were one of them dorks. You were one of them dorks who bought into a permanent trend. Look at her. Look at her hand. Her hand is gross. She's a beautiful woman. That's a gross hand.
And someone said to me once that.
And also, can I just, what is going on with this chick? She's beautiful, right? Is that what we're supposed to say? Am I supposed to look at her and go, you are beautiful? Not to my Western sort of, she looks scary. Is she cosplaying? What is she doing? It's fashion, it's wild fashion. She's not, I hate these people.
Was the thing that I would love the most about Alpha Bear. That
Look at those nails. Those nails are fucking impractical. You can't actually hold a job with those nails. Good thing she's a Tony-winning Broadway star. Those stupid nails. I hate these people.
I would want to stay green, but actually, being green, yes, I loved playing this character, but every time I took the makeup off, I loved who I was even more.
Ugh. You put green on. All right, why don't you go get together with whoever played Kermit and talk about what it's like being green. She's using the makeup to make some larger point about her racial identity, and I am so fucking tired of this nonsense.
So I've come away feeling really beautiful.
You f***ing are.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
All right, she's like, look at her. Ain't she beautiful? No, Ariana, you are. Ariana, you are. You're beautiful. She's a talented actress. Maybe beauty's not going to be her thing, and that's okay. Beauty's not my thing. Not everybody has to be beauty. We're not going to sit around pretending like this person who's talking about playing a green witch in a made-up fairy tale somehow grounded her into finally understanding that she's the part of a minority class. I don't need to listen to this nonsense, okay? Is she pretty? Okay, I guess. Look, maybe to somebody she is, right? But I think that the average guy is going to go, no, she looked kind of like a goblin. She looks like a goblin.
You know?
Yeah. What you've brought to this film and to these characters.
Oh, now this fucking bitch, this hack stringer reporter, she now wants to go out and have coffee with these two after. So she's going to totally we're just connecting here. This is so beautiful. This is such a manufactured, this is so contrived. There is no authenticity here. This is just people fucking slinging bullshit. And we're all supposed to be like,
You've not just taken care of them, you have transformed them for good.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you very much.
Look, this is where we learn that this interviewer, after the compliment to them, is suddenly the greatest interviewer of all time.
Thank you.
This is also my first time ever doing a jump.
You
You're
have been the
amazing.
light
You're
of the
amazing.
day. You are
truly-
such a gift.
You brought such
Such a gift. You are so, I mean, look, that's nice. It's sweet, right? But isn't it a little much when it's this much and when it's poured on this thick? Doesn't it strike you as inauthentic? And these people are all just gonna
Light into the room. Thank you very much
We
for
appreciate
coming
you.
into this
Thank
room
you.
today.
Thank
We
you.
needed you to come in.
Oh my God.
I'm a person.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why I'm so salty, but them bitches drive me nuts. What is that? What is that? I know. Good Lord, you are a gift. Shut the fuck. Exactly. Shut the. She wanted to stay green because she thought that, being a black woman, maybe being green in society would be easier for. Oh, shut the fuck up. There are no green people. Now you just look like an idiot. Now you're just walking around. Stop me. It's not a useful experience, analogy. It's not useful anything. You're just being weird. And then I wore the green and I became green. Dude, when I tell you, you guys have been with me for a while, and I think you think I'm kidding. But when I tell you that actresses are the worst people on the planet, that's what I'm talking about. That bullshit. Imagine having to navigate that bullshit every day in your personal life just because she's hot. It's the worst. It's the worst. Oh, Adam must be menstruating. You don't even know what the movie's about and what the green fuck you! The green, she's a goblin. She's a witch. Doesn't represent anything. This is a goddamn parasitic attempt, well, it has been for 30 years, attempt to sort of reinstill some interest in the Wizard of Oz. It ain't what it represents. Oh, Adam, you don't know what it represents. Doesn't represent anything. It's a stupid play about witches and Dorothy. You fucking buffoon! No, but it represents something much more. Oh, stop it. Those people are insufferable. Much like I've been these past few minutes. I totally recognize that. Al says they're shroomed up. Yeah, probably. Probably on drugs. See, this is Adam. This is what liberals do. Adam is a liberal. Adam is defending unnecessarily some of the most fucking irritating video we've watched in a long time. Now, why is the liberal compelled to defend that? Because the liberal is constantly seeking some form of moral superiority or a position to be able to say, you're wrong and I am right. And here is why. Because I am a better person. You are just making fun of someone. You are being mean. You don't understand that you shouldn't make fun of it because the green color in the film represents. Fucking shut up. This is what we're done with. We're done. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. I just want to tell you, including Adam, how much I love you guys. I don't know, man. Thanksgiving was never really a holiday for me. I mean, it was a thing. It was just a day off. It was a couple days off school. But I think Thanksgiving is truly one of those annual events where you have to get older. You have to know what you're thankful for and why, right? As a kid, we're going to go around the table and we're going to talk about what we're thankful for. Well, little Billy, what are you thankful for? Well, I'm thankful that Santa's coming. It's like, but there truly is a purpose for this day. And we talked about it the other day. The other day when George Washington in, when was it? 1780 or something, 1783, something like that. George Washington, after what the country had gone through, called for a singular day, just one day. Okay, we've done it. We're a new country. Just one day, let's all just sit down together. Let's eat and let's be thankful for what we've been able to accomplish, for what we've just gone through, for who we are and who we're going to be. That was the idea for Thanksgiving. Not pilgrims, not sitting down with the Indians, right? I don't even know that really happened. That's mythology. There were pilgrims and they did deal with Indians, but I can promise you from the history that I've read, they didn't do a whole lot of sitting down and sharing dinners, okay? It was Washington. Thanksgiving is an American holiday because of George Washington being compelled to make some kind of a note to the people that we've done something, we've accomplished something. Let's take a breath. Let's sit down. Let's be together. Let's be kind. Let's be happy. That's what the holiday was. And it wasn't a holiday. It was one day. Washington was like, one day. We're going to do it one day, okay? And then we're going to get back to work. It wasn't until Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is the dude who made it a holiday. Abraham Lincoln said every day, every year, once a year, we got a new national holiday. Now, this was because that there were certain pockets and certain cultures, especially on the East Coast, that between Washington and Lincoln were celebrating this annually. And it was an annual celebration of America. It was an annual celebration in those early days of what it is that we've accomplished. Now, again, there's a whole lot of mythology with turkeys and a whole lot of mythology with Indians and pilgrims. And what I don't know. Maybe they did have a feast. Certainly wasn't on the last Thursday of November because that would have been cold. When I was watching something there, I was watching something last weekend, or not last weekend, I guess it was Monday, because I treated Monday like you don't need to know, about the origins of Thanksgiving and how it was. I mean, there were always these days in our culture where we would designate, all right, today's going to be a day where we're going to get everyone together. But Thanksgiving isn't what we think it is my takeaway from it. It isn't, it hasn't happened every Thursday, the last Thursday of the month since old John Smith and the Mayflowers people. No, that's not true. That was all just sort of, commercial. We're a capitalist country that relies heavily on marketing, and marketing needs a story because stories connect with people. And if you want to sell something, you got to give them a story. So we were given this big thing going even before the Founding Fathers. Football, we got football tomorrow. We got 3 games. Let me tell you what we got. First game, Chicago Bears traveling to the Detroit Lions. Lions, as I said yesterday, this game can go 2 ways. Oh, really? Really? 2 ways? What are those 2 ways? Win or lose? No, what I mean is I think that tomorrow, starting at 11:30 a.m., we will either see the Detroit Lions take advantage of this game being their highest profile game of the year so far. I mean, the Lions want to make it all the way to the Super Bowl. So this will be, a lot of Americans around the country have heard about Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions, but maybe they didn't catch them on Monday Night Football, or they're certainly not in the viewing area in Detroit. So they don't get to see a whole lot of the way the Detroit Lions play football. And I'll tell you, as an NFC North guy, they're a good team. I think they're easily the best team in the NFL. I said it. Yeah, I do. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, and I'll be rooting for them because the Lions are good people. So tomorrow's game is either going to be the Lions saying, you know what, it's time for us to introduce ourselves to the country, and putting up 50 again. You're putting up 60. I don't know. It could be bad. Doesn't matter. Or it could be the flip side of that, which is the Lions are like, it's Thanksgiving, and okay, and these are the Bears, and they're in our division, and division games are always different, right? Division games are always tougher. Bears beat them once last year and then came within a last-second field goal of beating them a second time last year. So they play them well. So it could either be, look, it's a big stage, and either the Detroit Lions are going to introduce themselves to the country or Caleb Williams is. And there's a good chance that happens too. There's a good chance that the Bears upset the Lions and Caleb Williams throws 350 yards. Yeah. I don't know. That's the way I think that game's going to go. All right, the second game, we got the Cowboys and the Giants. The Giants, that's going to be the 40 million game. I said that. 40 million people will probably tune in for that game. It's going to be the most watched game by far of the week, the afternoon Thanksgiving Day game. Giants, Tommy DeVito, he didn't even make the flight. 2 weeks ago or last week, I'm ranting about how the Giants are such a dumpster fire that they, in fear of the escalators for their second string quarterback, they decided to go with their third string quarterback, who's just basically a local pizza boy who everybody likes. They put him out there last week. Tommy DeVito got his ass handed to him, got injured, didn't even make the trip with the Giants. So Drew Lock, is it Drew Lock? Is that who it is? Drew Lock is going to be starting tomorrow for the Giants against the Cowboys. The Giants' whole team is... I'll tell you, I did hear an interesting conversation today. Mike Florio, maybe you know Mike Florio from Sunday Night Football. I happen to love him as a football host, a football commentator, a football pundit, if you will. Florio is great. Florio is so smart. And he's not a fool. He's not trying to hype you like some radio guy who's now on ESPN. No, Florio's legit. Florio said, what was his take on this guy? I thought it was so interesting. Oh, he said that here's what Florio thinks is going to happen. Florio thinks that next season, the New York Giants are going to have Bill Belichick as their head coach and Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. And I was a little bit taken aback by that. I was like, what, really? And I guess it comes down to the Jets and both of these people's desire, Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick, to give a big FU to Woody Johnson and the Jets, because apparently it's not going so well between Rodgers and the Jets. So, I mean, a lot of people could say they see that happening. They see Belichick. Belichick would love to be a New York City head coach once again, feeling like, he failed there. Or did he fail? Yeah, he failed. They didn't win nothing. He wasn't with them when they won. He was a coordinator with the Giants, wasn't he? But he was a head coach with the Jets? No, he wasn't a head coach with the Jets. What's his problem with the Jets? Oh, I know what his problem with the Jets is. That's right. Woody Johnson is the guy who started the Deflategate. It was Woody Johnson and the Jets who told on the Patriots. So that's why Belichick hates the Jets. I knew there was a reason other than just being, rivals in the conference. So that was interesting. I thought, the New York Giants next year are going to have Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers. And as a Cowboy fan, I'm like, let's go. Yeah. Give us an old egomaniac who doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. Let's have him cause all kinds of... Give me that, and then give me also that in the quarterback. Good idea. Good idea, New York. That's it. You're not stupid, New York. Come on. The Mara family's got to be better than that. The Mara family is going to bring in Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers, maybe for 1 year. Maybe if you're just like, well... we don't have a quarterback. We don't have anything. We're going to need to develop some things. So maybe for 1 year, you go all in. Maybe 1 year. Give Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers a 1-year deal. Anyway, there you go. You don't want Bill Belichick. A lot of you Cowboy idiots think you want Bill Belichick. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you when you all thought you wanted Mike McCarthy. No, you don't. No, you don't. The Cowboys want a young, new mind. The game of football, strategically, from a planning and coaching standpoint, has changed radically in the last 10 years. These guys who were masters at planning and game planning and zone versus scheme, these guys who were so great at that in 2005, a lot of them, the game has passed by. I don't think that's the case with all of them. I mean, I still think that Mike Tomlin is a top coach. I know Adam Marina thinks Mike Tomlin is like the worst. I'm like, okay. Had that argument with him last year. Yeah, you're right. He sucks. Okay, we're moving on. I can't have this conversation. Cowboys should be setting their sights on Ben Johnson. Cowboys should be setting their sights on a Kubiak. Cowboys should be setting their sights on Joe. What about not Joe Douglas? Joe, who's the offensive coordinator of the Bills? Joe Brady. They should be focusing on people like that. Not some old guy that Jerry's going to be like, he was really good 10 years ago. No, come on, Cowboys. Stop trying to mine the past for future gold. Get some young blood in there, man. Get some excitement. I don't know if there's any young, exciting who's out there. A dude down there in Houston, right? DeMarco? young, passionate. I mean, there's just, because of the way the league has changed, because of all of the things have changed. I mean, we just talked about it yesterday, starting quarterbacks, right? You never started a quarterback. You drafted a guy, he sat. What you would do is you'd bring a bridge quarterback in. You'd pay some idiot. You'd pay him something. You know, it's not a star, but a bridge quarterback. And then you'd have, you know, your rookie learn by that. Was 2 years ago, you never went for it on fourth down. Now we're always going for it on fourth down. A couple of years ago, a 60-yard field goal was thought to be unbelievable. All of these things are different in football now, okay? Which means that there's a butterfly effect, okay? If you can now hit a field goal from 60, that means that your defensive schemes have to be different because now you're playing. Anyway, guys like Bill Belichick, Mike McCarthy, these dudes who are 60 and above, it's time for them to go away, and it's time to have a league full of teams with 38-year-old coaches, because that's what the Cowboys ought to do. Cowboys, Giants, I expect the Cowboys to absolutely blow them out, which is a strange thing to say because the Cowboys are absolute trash, but the Giants are even worse. Thursday night, what is that, Miami and Green Bay, right? Who's home in that? Is that Green Bay at Miami? Green Bay was... You got to figure, right? Hold on. Let's see. This would be, I guess, this is Miami at Green Bay. Oh, wow. Look at that. Okay, so they're playing it up there in Lambeau. That'll be the nighttime game. That's 7:20. Miami at Green Bay. Expect Green Bay to blow them out. Miami has to go to Green Bay on November the 27th. They've been practicing all week down there in 90-degree temperatures, and they're going to get to the field at Lambeau, and it's probably going to be 30. So, yeah, I'm going to go Packers. I am going to go Giants. I'm going Packers in the late game, Cowboys in the middle game, Lions in the early game, and that's how I'm picking them. That's how I'm picking them. Peter says, sending Pugs and all the chat a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm grateful for the rant and all the peeps. Eat a lot and be safe. Isn't that nice? That's nice. I'm trying to read something that Barney had wrote something about Jack Haley, but I can't get that far down. I can't get. Hey, you know what's something else funny that I saw? This is funny. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I mean, it's not funny because there's nothing funny about slavery, and there's nothing funny about this world's ugly history of slavery. But I did see a funny video this morning that made me go, oh man, that one's gotta hurt. Let me see if I can find the video. I can't find it. Yeah, I can't find it. All right, it doesn't matter. It's a video. Apparently, you know that guy Henry Louis Gates? He's that dude who does the this is who your family was 300 years ago, right? He does he sits down with celebrities and then he traces their family all the way back. Henry Louis Gates, he sat down with Sonny Hostin from The View. That in and of itself isn't funny. I'm just anticipating the reveal that I'm about to give you. So Henry Louis Gates sat down with, Sonny Hostin, and Henry Louis Gates told Sonny Hostin that she descends from a family that owned slaves, like lots of slaves. Like she's actually got Spanish in her not too distant, and they had a whole bunch of slaves, and they were big slave traders. And Sonny Hostin is sitting there listening to this guy, and she's like, wow, that's kind of not on brand for me, huh? That's never saw that coming. Didn't think that I had slave master blood in me, but anyway, I thought that was funny. Here's another thing that I thought was funny. Apparently Madonna out on tour. Somebody made a funny video of Madonna out on tour. Let's watch it, shall you? But it's still funny. And it speaks to exactly what I've been saying about Madonna. Why is she still doing this? Why does Madonna still need to be out there? Here you go. Very funny video. Madonna performing live.
Who's having a good time? I am, baby. Why am I still up here? Why must I work so hard? Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. I'm Madonna, and I love this attention, but also I'm very tired. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh my gosh. I just want to watch a movie and eat some cookies and go to sleep.
All right, there you have it. I hope that made your day the way it made my day. Madonna with the music removed. That's great. All right, guys. That's about going to do it for us here, okay? So, Al, happy Thanksgiving. Sports Bras, Cece, Peter, Frank, happy Thanksgiving. Who else do we have to say happy Thanksgiving to? Let me see. Well, my chat room isn't up. There's my chat room. Let's see here. There's Frankie and all these people. All right, that's it. We're going to be back on Friday. We will be doing a show on Friday. No show tomorrow. You guys don't want a show tomorrow. Hang out with your people. Be cool with them. Don't start any fights. And we'll rally back and we'll meet here again in the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios here in the beautiful E Gallery on Friday. Friday at around noon. Guess that's it. Happy Thanksgiving.